Yeah, everybody.
That's button.
Welcome back to the Exalted 3rd Edition Dragon Blooded Edition. Last time, our intrepid group had quite a lot of things ticked off of their to-do list. They went off to the Iron Dust Manufactory and, with their crab in tow, did some honest day's labor and some not so honest day's labor in a couple of cases to get a keg of fire dust, but more importantly, offload a crab. And the local wild pockets and denizens of the fair folk from outside of reality seemingly accepted crab. Crab was yanked underground by a magmatic hand. It seemed, and nobody really got blown up afterwards. So crab seems to be home. It is at least no longer the hearth's problem, and it doesn't seem to be the problem of the region. Afterwards, the crew went along the roads towards the swamp in search of Don't. They were intercepted by a group of bandits, a very large alligator, a dragon-blooded lieutenant, and the Swamp Father, who would have gotten into combat had Brother Absolute Repose not given him a very good stare in the eyes and just, don't, no.
No.
So, after the combat, there was some discussion with the Swamp Father, the local god of this regional swamp, while Vanif Milan practiced sorcery and meditation and poses along with an abnormally large alligator, becoming friends and becoming one with its mind, as Old Man gave criticism on his form. Swamp Father, in turn, discussing with them some things about the local politics, some things about the local things. Oh, right, and the fact that the center of the swamp that's marked Don't is a second circle demon, which Absolute Repose spun on one heel and had to give a quick little talk to the rest of the group about. That's a thing. That's a statement. That's
a don't.
That's a really actually no really don't. But the group has also received an invitation to go speak with the leader of the bandits. And considering that one of the bandit leaders has been rendered thoroughly unconscious and almost bleeding out, if not for the interception of Yang, who also was the one who almost killed him, but was kind of guilted into fixing the wounds, will be delivered back up to the bandit lair. Also, Obsidian Shield and Repose collectively shamed / terrified the mortal bandits that ambushed them into going and fixing their lives and going and pursuing a less criminal, less incredibly highly deadly form of living.
Some of them were firmly persuaded that swamp crime is not their life.
Mm-hmm.
The rest have reaffirmed and reassured that swamp crime is their life, but
yes, more
you gotta do
healthy.
it smart.
You gotta do it more intelligently. You gotta have a name. You gotta label, a brand.
You crime poorly.
You gotta have a banner, a flag to fight under.
So, in the meantime, that would be. Ordinarily, I'd kick back to the world map for a little bit to chart the path, but just to give you an idea of where exactly you'll be going, I will pop over the map.
How long of a trip will this be?
It will take you into the late evening, early night, kind of like 11 or 12 at night.
Okay. Will this be enough time for me to recover my bashing damage?
What is your current level of health?
I took 1 level of bashing damage.
I feel like that's enough time. I don't remember offhand. But yeah, I will say yes, because it is unlikely, unless the players actively choose to do so, that there will be combat this session. So.
That sounds like a challenge.
Oh, I chose my words. So. The crew leaving the horses and some of the attendants behind, because horse plus swamp is nah, venture into the swamp. It is a low-lying freshwater swamp, relatively young in the scheme of a geological feature, but old enough that most of the remnants of what biome this used to be are gone. There are a couple of old dead trees that are very much not adapted to being this wet. There's a layer of peat starting to build up in the ground beneath the water as you walk. It is a young swamp in the terms of the geological cycle. So, going off the road and a couple of, a dozen miles or so in, which, with the assistance of local gods and a fleet of alligators, is actually pretty quick. You reach the redoubt of the Swamp Bandits. And from there, I will move over to another map. Just because I didn't want to be staring at this part of the map for the whole time, I made a little local map for the environment you'll be going into. The entrance and major central area of the bandit area is a patch of dry land surrounded by lowland marshes that trail off into huts, other trees, other emplacements. The centerpiece of this island in the middle of the swamp is a gargantuan willow tree that looks like it was probably here before this was even a swamp. Not pictured on the map currently, but generally scattered around are about 25. Looks like they're probably the personal guard of the Central of Bandits. They are wearing, for lack of a quicker description, basically the best stuff you can assume people are getting when they're prying it off of caravan guards. It's a very eclectic, wide selection of arms and armor, but pretty well maintained, all considered.
We have two obsidians.
Oh, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, okay. So, on the left, you see someone who is you would pretty much immediately guess, especially the Dynasts would guess, that he is a fire aspect dragonblood. He's wearing it pretty clearly on his sleeve. His hair is tinted a red. He's wearing fairly large, ornate, expensive armor for the life of a common bandit. He's eyeing you up pretty obviously, just looking you up and down in terms of combatants at first, and then whatever else you're here for second. On the right, and I apologize for these being a little dark on the tokens, the source art from the book was a little dark and I didn't brighten it up, is someone who is wearing as militarily prepared as the one on the left looks. The right is the opposite. It is kind of just swaying and vibing and staring into space. And if you had any other context this person was in, you would expect them to be just someone who had too much to drink and was wandering around at the town at night waiting to just fall over. But he is standing in a place of honor among the leadership of the bandits, so clearly there's something going on with him. And in the center, atop a 15-foot tall kind of toadstool cap mushroom with an additional growth atop it for a backing, is a figure in lamellar armor, which has what looks like a thin, almost sheer silk dress, but has been turned over into a lattice for colonization of lichens and moss. So instead of a thin, gauzy silk that would cost more than Milan's average salary, it is now a mottled green and brown, just kind of shroud of mosses and the life of the swamp. Covering the figure's face is, as you can see from the image that I took it from, what I thought was a good idea until I remembered that it was my subconscious remembering. A broad mushroom hat with a lattice, like the first Wyverians from Monster Hunter World, had that mental image, and I was like, I'm a genius. And then 2 days later, I was like, wait, no, I'm just remembering that wrong. Anyway, so
It's just Toad, but looks fucked up.
You can't actually see this figure's face under the veil from this distance. So, the figure leans forward in their mushroom chair and speaks with a fairly high voice. So you're the ones who caused the trouble down on the road then, huh? Why don't you introduce yourselves for me?
Who's the one of us that talks to people?
Okay, that is something that I would expect Yangs to say out loud, so does he?
Yeah, sure, fuck it.
The one on the right starts laughing pretty hard at that statement.
Well, let's
Is
have a
Newbie
discourse
actually
with
here?
friends.
Newbie mentioned that Newbie might be quiet, so.
All right,
you
sure. What's
there?
up? Let's take care of this.
Yeah.
I
Newbie-
step forward.
Say, I have no investment in this, so
Neither do I, but I'm
Yo,
here
come
anyway,
here.
so I step forward.
And the figure leans forward. So, what's your name?
My name is Angler Spanning All Seas. May I have your name, please?
There's a pause from the figure and kind of a slight laugh. You may have a title. You may call me the Gardener of Wayward Flowers.
In the interest of time, may I call you the gardener?
Of course.
Thank you.
These are my lieutenants. She gestures to her right. The first beyond the 10,000. And to her left, she gestures, and this is Drunken Waterfall. First and third lieutenants of my humble arrangement, as it were.
Forgive me. My children would never forgive me if I didn't ask this, but Drunken Waterfall, how did you receive your title?
Long story, the figure on the right, on your right says. But, I don't know, just probably the way you think. It involved a whole lot of alcohol, about a 10-foot tall contraption, and, interesting and good decisions at the time.
Sure. Okay.
The figure very clearly broadly smiles at having you on the back foot with that.
Just, well, out of character, I was really thinking, is he talking about vomit? Is this what we're talking about? Because, Darren, if you're making us talk about vomit, I will never forgive you for this.
No, this is a fucking like 10-foot gravity bong, but for alcohol kind of situation.
Even better. Anyway, moving on. So I believe we found your crew on the road, and there's a misunderstanding exactly of what you were guarding until gestures at the giant crocodile god. We were told of the issues.
Adventurer types. First beyond the 10,000 says. He looks you up and down. 2 from the realm, 4 not. Interesting. Usually the realm dogs either show up with their own retinues or they dominate them. So it seems that you are on the back foot in this arrangement.
Something like that. I am quite out of my element.
Well, at least you have the presence of mind to recognize it.
I rode here on the back of a crocodile next to something 20 times my size. This is not a Tuesday, whatever a Tuesday is.
I think it actually is just in the normal days of the week.
Tuesday it is.
Yeah, it's either that or it's the planets, so whatever. So,
Planets plus sun moon.
meanwhile, the gardener has been turning their head to watch Repose walk out from behind the group. Just kind of quietly observing Repose. But in the meantime, turns back to Angler. So, clearly there was some manner of discussion between you and my patron as to what was actually at the heart of the swamp. And I am assuming you did not understand it at first. The fact that you're here willingly to diplomatically discuss it indicates you're not here to beseech it.
No, not in the slightest.
No.
Good. If you were, you would be dead by now. She leans back into her chair again. How much do your group actually know about what you're dealing with here?
Most of us very little, although some of us are a little more learned in the history.
Would you indicate which of the group that would be as you say that, or?
I'll leave that up to them to step forward if they want to. I'm not going to give it away just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Repose will slide up to like appropriate matching advisor distance from Spanner and just get like seated and comfortable.
Mm-hmm. She nods her head slightly at Repose. Well then, how much do you know about Metagauss? That would be an intelligence occult roll if you don't believe you would know the names of the Yozi off the top of your head.
Let's just throw that.
I'm not even going to bother.
Yeah, this is if you don't have a background where you would know, no, this is not even.
How
Don't
much
bother
do I
rolling.
know about Metagauss?
One of the Yozi, one of the trapped primordial creators of the world, associated with swamps and hunger, and that's basically all you know. So the fact that the name is being invoked around here makes some sense, but that's basically all you really know. Nice. Would that be what you say back, or?
Probably just complete the name of the title.
Ah,
Then
she not.
take out the swamp vodka, pour a small glass, take a small sip, slosh it around in the mouth, and then spit decidedly to the left.
Yep. She laughs at that. Wise. I see we have someone who does know that, the certain ways. She kind of gestures. What we have here, mercifully, is not a full manifestation, nor is it one of their personal aspects. It is a particular emanation of their own that was called here some time ago. She breathes in and out, clearly thinking of how to say this out loud. The entity in question was called here not by sorcerer's means. It was more through the cracks in the jail. The particular methods with which it could be reached out and contacted. Unfortunately, a group of monastics was aware of these methods and decided that it was in their interests and in their power to call upon this entity for their own causes. She leans forward, kind of puts her hand under her veil to rest her chin upon it, thinking for a moment. I believe I can trust you with the name. The entity in question is Reshnak, the Eater of Impurity. It is one of the souls of the visceral unity. The monks called it forward, as they, from what I understand after the fact and during the time, delved into forbidden texts that they should not, and found descriptions of this demon, and understood that this demon was capable of devouring that which was impure about things. They were of the opinion that it would be far easier to call it forward and have it eat the spiritual impurities from without than to actually achieve a spiritual purity of their own volition. So they set up a temple with which to call it forward, and got exactly what they wanted. They just didn't know exactly what they were asking for. A demon's definition of impurity is decidedly not an immaculate monk's. What they imagined would happen was that they would have the fetters on their souls eaten away and be able to skip directly to, I suppose, either their next incarnation as one of the princes of the earth or perhaps directly to the Immaculate Dragons. Unfortunately for them, the demon was not actually particularly craving spiritual impurity at that moment. It has a much broader definition of purity and impurity. She gestures out at the swamp. For example, were the demon loose now, and it fed upon a tree, it may decide to devour all but the bark, if it is focusing on the bark as the most important part of the tree. It may devour all but the leaves, all but the sap, all but the spiritual representation. The demon decides what is pure about what it perceives, and then the demon removes all that gets in the way. The monks got what they wanted. The monks had to be put down. She leans back into her seat, scoping the reaction from the crew so far.
Have kind of just a responsive good, they had it coming, but wordlessly.
Same, but very, very level and stoically. Like, yeah, they do that.
My expression says good they had it coming.
Oh, weird. I met somebody who wandered from prescribed path and got destroyed. Strange that.
Oh, look, the Immaculate Order messed up again. What a surprise.
The figure on the fungus throne chuckles to herself. I see we don't have particularly sympathetic audiences towards the Order. That is good. As what I will be discussing next is decidedly an awkward topic, had any of you been so. The Order does not like to publicly admit when its own have gone astray, especially when their own straying has come from partially their own tenets. There was a wild hunt sent, and I was proximate to it. I was not part of them, but I was, you might call it, in the area. These monks were assuming that this was a localized error. Some sort of internal impurity, some sort of accident of faith. As not enough information had escaped the maw of the Eater of Impurity. Circumstances led it to me having to assist the monks, even though that was not my original aim. And circumstances led it to become abundantly clear that neither I nor any of the Immaculates that were present were actually equipped to deal with Reshnak. She gestures to herself. This is how I became what I am now. The deity that once rested within this tree gave its life up to give me power and influence over this area. It's clear that she's picking her words very carefully. And just one moment.
Yes.
That is the spelling I just put into the text. I was not able, even with the sacrifice of the former god of this world, to destroy this demon. But I was given the blessing and power, and more than a small amount of luck and insight, to find a way of neutralizing the problem. You see, I was of the opinion myself, before coming to live here, that a swamp was a place of innate impurity, that it was grotesque and overgrown and decaying, miserable, wretched place to live full of disease. Which, I suppose, if you are not in harmony with it, it can be. Thus, I was under the impression at first that the demon would have an endless banquet. Until I realized the demon could be manipulated by the virtues of how it was summoned and the virtues of its appetite. It took no small amount of sacrifices. But the demon was led back to the monastery that it was originally called in. And I was able to pressure it enough that it devoured the impurities of the area around it, the walls, the doors, the floors, the mortar, everything fed into its hungry maw. And then I shut the door and I locked it. And I used the remaining prayer seals that the Immaculate Order had and sealed the door shut. For the demon had not considered its one weakness. When everything around it is pure, it cannot do anything. It has nothing to feed upon. It cannot actually harm or touch or break that which is completely devoured down to what it considers perfection. So there it rests, in that temple, starving forever.
Sensible.
And now you might understand why I am so particular about having its rest undisturbed. As
And
any...
For how long have you kept vigil over this mistake?
I've not kept track of years quite so long, but about 100, I believe.
Do you know Koi, the water?
Oh, the sorcerer. Yes, I'm familiar with her. We have occasionally exchanged letters. It is beyond Koi's power to actually banish this creature.
Understandable, but she has shifted the water in this region. I am curious, with this swamp, where the waters here go.
It's a low-lying area. It eventually either evaporates or works its way into the ground soil. But, as I was mentioning, the fundamental reason why I have my organization here and my assistance is any impurity reintroduced to that temple will give it an opportunity to eat a hole through its wards. And I don't trust the average wanderer to maintain spiritual hygiene when approaching such places. That is why, unfortunately, we had our disagreement upon the road. Assumption was made, especially upon seeing certain symbols upon clothing. And we acted to make sure that the temple would remain undisturbed. And for that, I do apologize. First Beyond the 10,000 shifts kind of irritatedly when there is no reception of the apology, but the gardener does not actually seem bothered.
I apologize for harming your people. However, I do not necessarily condone their actions of preying upon those who go on the roads.
Gardener just kind of laughs to herself. Yes, well, we are able to provide for ourselves to a certain extent, but it is a hard sell to make to many men to give up their lives to defend something that may or may not ever escape, and to live in a swamp for the rest of their lives. And there are certain external factors that incentivize a certain level of management of the merchantry.
Repose is leaning back a bit and having to think, hey, in the last 100 years or so, have there been any major changes in who is the big list of names out here in the Eastern Temples?
In the temples or in the politics? That's
In the spiritual politics, is the current abbot someone who has been the regional abbot, someone who has been there for a century, or has there been enough shakeup? Has there been turnaround over the past century?
There was, I believe, an abbot replacement somewhere shortly after the disaster at the monastery, but beyond that, I think it has remained relatively stable. As for the local spirit courts, I confess that I'm not all that familiar beyond our own local court, which our esteemed patron, she gestures to the Swamp Father, graciously took the role of our revered departed elder. But beyond that, it has remained, understandably, somewhat fluid, but ultimately the same.
So it is the case, then, that all who know the full extent of your quite upright and righteous explanation of your actions here are present at this moment on this tree, on this isle.
There is a small handful that know the full story, but most of us.
There lies a problem for you.
Hmm?
You have provided us with an image quite unlike that which we beheld on approaching these lands.
She's remaining
Consider
silent.
the perspective of our guests from the center, and I'll lay down some broad strokes of stuff that we have been up to over the last month,
Mhm.
and then get around to we received news that one, there is something unhail and terrible and unspeakable in this swamp, and two, it is guarded by a bandit crew. Not the people of this region are protected from its fell influence.
I believe that would be on the shoulders of whoever informed you.
Actually, weren't we told that the bandits were meant to keep from people
That
going
wasn't
to it?
yes. That was the you were not initially told that, but the villagers mentioned that there was an arrangement where the bandits killed anyone who went towards the cult location in exchange for free reign over stealing stuff. We are in a position where those who know who we are know who we are, and we have arrangements with them. And those who beyond us, who think us common bandits, usually find that their objections are rebutted long before they make themselves a problem. And I see no particular need to wander the world and proclaim my virtuosity when I need to be here, watching it.
All the more reason that you must ensure that any who pass by your territory will see fit to proclaim it for you. Consider that to the wrong ears in the wrong place, those few fragments which describe this place from without would suffice to convict you and yours of all manner of things. Those who even know of the mistake, of the embarrassment, of the grand heresy which created this problem for you, are conveniently no longer present to be held accountable. Any of our kin could find it in their interests to make use of this place as a target. To say that, once again, some small, petty, local divinity has fallen prey to wayward forces and must be set aright.
Roll me a read intentions.
That is perception plus socialize.
Yes.
Any of us or just repose?
Anybody who is watching the reactions of the three
Yep.
lieutenants and the gardener.
I was actually about to ask if I could make a read intentions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying more attention to First Beyond than the gardener herself.
I also read intentions.
Pop back
Yeah,
up
anybody
that
who wants
character
to
sheet.
actually eyeball these people.
How do I type numbers again?
Yeah, put that non-socialized to use here.
Read intentions.
Read intentions is
Yeah, okay.
Perception socialize.
so like perception and intuition then, I guess, or wait, or socialize a thing. Oh, just perception.
Perception and add on the socialize skill.
Let's-
Come on in.
It's all right. All right. So, Spanner, you are specifically looking at First Beyond.
Yes. I'm not looking
um,
at anyone else but him.
My intention is on Gardner.
Okay. So that is 4 on Gardner, 6 on First. 6 with 2 motes. So, Obsidian, are you using it on the group or on someone in particular?
There is typing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. For those reading the room, This is a conversation that has happened a lot, it seems like. There is some sticking point underneath the surface that has prevented them from doing that. And it is looking like you are bringing up an old sore point to this group. Angler in particular, when you look at First Beyond the 10,000, sees that First Beyond is practically biting his lip to stop from going on a tirade about something. And for those looking specifically at Gardner, Gardner's posture has shifted from very relaxed, lounging back in the throne, in control of the situation, to much more tense.
We appear to have hit a nerve.
I'm seeing a bunch of scapegoats as soon as the order gets around to it.
That you might. But we have our own ways of defending ourselves. Gardner says. First Beyond just sighs. Look. I am not at liberty to discuss certain elements of our arrangement that we have here. But let it be known that we have discussed being more open towards more groups, and the possibility has been denied. Obsidian Shield, in particular, can recognize just the fire aspect sensation of just gritting your teeth and feeling your blood boiling beneath your skin is like you really want to just start hollering about something, but you can't.
Why? Why not tell us? You can tell we aren't here to hurt you anymore. Let us help.
Okay, that I'm going to ask for a social influencing roll with a 1 die stunt because you have pretty solidly established yourself as not interested in hurting or dealing with these people. Let's make that a manipulation presence from you.
Oh, I thought you said socialize.
Oh, I got it. No, actually, this would be socialized because this is kind of a formal context where you're dealing with power structures.
Socialize, manipulate.
Yes.
Here we go. 3.
She sighs. There may be certain circumstances where poking my head up a little too high and making my presence a little too known would actually complicate matters more than the current status quo.
You're already making yourselves known further out than you might expect. The
You
only reason we
personally have earned the trust of 2, 3 sons of the earth.
Sons of the Earth,
There's no
not
need for your face to be shown at all.
You underestimate the particular bloody tenacity of some parts of the realm.
How much do you, well, how much do you know of what is happening in the realm?
I have heard that the Empress is missing again.
And what happened because of that?
That considerable power structures that have been normally understood to be stable are now unstable. And even more likely to pursue personal vendettas.
It is a powder keg. The Isle will go up in flames in a few years. They will fight and they will fight until there is nothing left unless someone takes the control of it. Whoever will come after you must worry about who comes after them when they are weak. I don't know who or what is after you, but maybe we can reach an agreement. I don't see any reason why you should be attacked for what you are doing here, save for the banditry.
How old are you, boy?
Old enough to see someone scared out of their mind.
How old are you?
33.
70 years too young.
I am tired of being told I am young. Let me help. I am here. Let us help.
Oh, is this a matter of seniority? Repose will be looking back over his shoulder at Old Man.
Old man will clap
No,
forward.
actually, okay, as Old Man is doing that, roll me intelligence lore rolls and you get +2 if you're a dynast.
Oh boy.
Can anyone do that?
Yes, actually, no, you get +5.
Me?
Yes,
I get
Yang
100%.
specifically gets +5.
So lore plus 4 plus intelligence.
Old man knows things.
Are you sure this is going to be a really high roll?
Yes, I'm very sure. I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, he's gonna think so hard right now.
Oh no, is he on the list?
I think you might be
Yang's
on the
really-
list.
Yang is really very intelligent. It doesn't come up very often, but he is
Yeah,
I'm
very
worried
smart.
now.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh no!
All right, everybody else, let's see. Old Man and Mulan have 6. Spanner has 4.
I have 7, thanks.
7, okay. Old Man knows exactly what she's talking about. Spanner has a general idea. Milan has a very good idea, and Repose has a vague idea. Yang has a horrible, very deep sinking sensation all of a moment.
These are surviving a Celsius, aren't they?
Yep!
Oh, no.
boy. Oh boy!
I'm sorry, what?
This is a runaway Excelsi.
Do I have to kill him?
No, this is your.
Oh.
No, this is
your
one of your
squad.
kin.
Yeah.
This is one of your relatives who was presumed dead. You specifically know who this is by name. You
Yeah.
were brought up
You've
thinking
seen
that
their-
this woman was dead. Her name is Excelsi Fuyuko, and she was assumed dead on an assassination mission to kill Immaculates in this region.
You've seen her death mask before. It's on the wall.
Her mask is on the wall, and here she is alive. And very, very intent on the family not knowing.
Oh, this got awkward.
Maybe she'll give me direction if I just ask her. Maybe, I can-
Finally, someone who can tell me
maybe,
things.
mom could just tell me what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, technically speaking, these are people who are not on the list. If it became known that these are runaways who have gone and abandoned their vendetta for something else, they would be 3,000% on the list by the judgment of your superiors.
However,
They're not here right now.
and they're not on the list right now.
And also, Yang is the only one who realizes this with that full context. Anybody else who gets above a 4 or a 5 guesses Excelsi. Repose guesses outcast family from the realm that really does not want to be seen.
Repose
What
just
if I
knows
just-
that there
what
is
if I just-
bastard energy here.
Yes.
If I
There's
just,
deep
like-
political fuckery happening
If I
here.
literally just walk up to them and be like, okay, hey, what's up? I'm going to drop the mask and you can't control this. How dead would I be immediately if I was just like, hey, I was kidnapped by them? If I start with that context.
That's a question of, are you asking that about the hearth, or are you asking that about them?
I'm trying to figure out, like,
Because I can have you roll for how they would react if you revealed yourself to them.
I mean, I want to, like, okay, so, like, man, head full of many thoughts.
Yup. I was dropping hints that whole conversation and waiting to see if somebody would get it.
I'm gonna walk up. I'm gonna walk up and just be like, whatever they're doing mid-conversation, I'm just gonna stare at her because now I've realized who they are.
Yang just kind of shambles over her, wide-eyed.
First Beyond the 10,000 takes a step forward, putting a hand on a saber at his side. Gardner puts up her hand. Drunken Waterfall looks very pleased all of a sudden.
Okay, so hi.
Before you actually...
I know I've been quiet up until now. So let's suppose there's a bunch of assholes who kidnap kids sometimes for fun because they're special, right? And let's suppose that one of them has no idea what the fuck he's supposed to be doing, frankly, in this imaginary thing that doesn't exist that I'm talking about right now.
Drunken Waterfall, slowly and carefully, arms out to the sides, walks up to Yang. Oh, you poor cousin.
What the fuck do I do? What do they want me to do?
Isn't that the eternal question?
It doesn't make any sense.
The 3 swamp bloods look down at the rest of the hearth, realizing that this is very suddenly an awkward topic. They don't know whether or not you know yet, so they're looking and gauging you. And
Old man gives a nod, but also is like, the concept of seniority came up earlier, and all of a sudden he's very into the conversation.
Old man gives a nod, and he does a terrible thing.
It's also true.
I'm looking at people that are supposed to be dead, so it's more of an odd fascination at this point.
Gardner slowly reaches up to her hat, lifts it off her face, removes the veil, and shows the face of... Milan in particular, you could see this woman as any one of your aunts. She is the spitting image of just a cultured realm, well-to-do patrician. Who is just... could blend into any high society crowd. Still... for living in a swamp for 100 years, it's clear that she has not given up on trying to make herself feel better about where she is. And she looks down.
I'm still rambling at this point. Like, man, the last thing I remember is like I just wanted to go find cats in the woods, and then like I found a really good cat, and I was like, got all sparkly and shit. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then suddenly this motherfucker in a, oh, right, sorry.
What's your name?
Yang.
She says, I'm very sorry, Yang. Yes, that's the reason we are here, is you may think that the realm is in trouble now. You haven't seen the realm when the Exalted get the order yet.
Oh no. See, like I'm living with this because I have like a vague idea that if I just kill the assholes, it'll all work out. But that's not going to work out because the assholes keep coming back, and like the assholes are the people above me, and I can't kill them because they're not on the list. And like, God.
List?
Don't worry about it. I'll tell you about it later.
Told you he
It
was
looked
salty.
It looked like Fuyuko was about to actually explain, but when Yang mentions that he wants to talk about it later, respects the wish. She looks up. We are not the only former dynasts in this area. Not only are we close enough to Grey Falls to, if the home family learned of our wavering attachment to the philosophies that guide them, or in my case, the decided continuation of life after the assumption of death, that would complicate our lives considerably.
There's not even a philosophy. It's just petty tantrums in a long form. It's
Drunken Waterfall guffaws and claps you on the back like, oh man, can we keep this one? Hang on, are you sworn to... sorry if I'm trying to poach from your hearth, but no. Man, it's rare to hear one of them that actually has some common sense these days.
I just wanted to go find cats in the woods.
Sorry, Yang is our wood.
There is a surprisingly intense stare of approval from Repose at this.
Are you sure you wouldn't, Young Yang? Would you like to become a swamp hermit? That's a pretty good way to go.
No, I'm good. Thank you. God, I'm sorry. I
That's the
don't know
path
what the
to
hell this
enlightenment
deal is.
as much as anything else.
It's not the point. The point is, look, self-improvement's cool. I need to figure out what the hell I'm supposed to do in the first place, though.
Do you want to spend some time with your family that might actually get it? We can give you some alone time.
Maybe.
I mean, we could fish or something.
Yeah, let's give Yang some personal time.
Yeah, there's this is out of character voice. There is again a small settlement out here, so you could, go speaking with them, go exploring, go fishing, go through things as while Yang is having a discussion, and we can do
This is
that
the part of the JRPG where they fucking
through the fishing mini game while one of the characters has a character development moment.
It is very time to fish.
Old man, however, will ask Gardner, and how old are you, young lady?
I'm sorry he's like this. I'm so sorry about this grandpa we keep around.
By mortal reckoning, about 170.
It's a good nod, and then my apologies. But then we'll just walk away.
Where around here is third lieutenant left laying around?
He is currently was taken. He's not here right now. He is currently in a medicinal tent. If you actually went and found him, he is currently buried under about an inch thick layer of fungus that is currently stitching his wounds.
I will leave him the bottle of swamp vodka. No further remark. Just make eye contact, place bottle, nod, walk away.
Okay, yeah, that'll be off map, but while you're in the village. So, in the meantime, I think this is important enough that even if it's a one character kind of conversation, this is a pretty important character conversation.
By all means, take the spotlight.
Go for it.
So, Fuiko looks down from her seat. House Celsi is a poison that poisons itself. All they live on is bitterness and hate, and regret, anger. They chose, when I was a younger girl, to attempt to assassinate the Empress.
That's in character.
Yeah, no, and Drunken Waterfall's like, yeah, no, fucking what did they think was gonna happen? In character as well. First Beyond is kind of keeping a military lookout at this point. Just talking openly about this has him on edge, so he has his weapon drawn and is just watching the horizon.
Yeah, fair.
Fuyuko kind of gestures openly with her hands. The Empress's response to our ancestors' insubordination was a long, humiliating, and violent public execution of our entire family. Few of us who retained the family name were allowed to live and maintain some illusion of dignity as a cadet house of one of the others. Any who refused to give up or would rather die than give up their family honor or their place as a great house were... She kind of looks down. The cruelty of the Empress is a thing beyond language.
Why is the house even here? It doesn't make any sense. To what end?
Vengeance. And as a tool. She looks to the rest of the hearth and visibly does the calculus in her head and then realizes this is not something that the two dynasts who hear this would either likely be surprised by or care about. House of Celsius' execution was simultaneously a way of opening up a new political wing for her daughter. She says that with no degree of bitterness, but also a way of having a deniable tool. She did not kill all of us. Some of us who were most amenable and most skilled in certain assets were kept as pets, as knives to be used in her hand. Our charge was that we would be left alive so long as we obeyed her orders to garden wayward flowers. The bitterness in the family, however, could not have. Well, she certainly must have known what she was doing. She was no fool. But it metastasized and went from assassinations upon her order to assassinations at their discretion.
So she got bored of us.
More accurately, she did not care about our extracurricular activities so long as they did not impose upon her own designs for her realm.
It still doesn't make any sense.
The Empress was a singular ruler. She ultimately only cared about one thing, and that was to be the ultimate power in the realm.
So, I mean, the thing we did was dumb and bad, and her response to it is exponentially worse. Sounds like the actions of a tyrant.
Oh, don't let any of your cousins hear that. The more reputable ones.
Well, they sound like they're complicit in some sort of shitty conspiracy against the people.
Yes, you were. And it's clear that whoever adopted you neglected to leave out those details out of some sort of desire for moral high ground, or perhaps out of incompetence or a lack of time.
Oh, it was always very vague. The only thing they were ever, like, specific on were the names and how to kill them.
Likely incompetence, then, or worry that telling you the whole truth without the full indoctrination would have backfired, which, now that we discuss this, it is clear that they were quite correct in that estimation.
It's the actions of people who know what they are doing are wrong.
Precisely. And that is all that drives them. Is they know what they are doing is beyond forgiveness and beyond justification, but all they have left is the hate. All they have left is the desire for the vendetta.
I've been using the list as people who could probably be more likely to be shitty than not. I don't really care why they want them dead. It's just people to kill. That's all I know how to do.
I'm sorry, she says. Like, and it's clear that just her face has just kind of pulled into this deep, regretful sadness of looking at this young man who has been through complete bullshit and seeing what her family has brought a century later and seeing that they've changed not at all. If anything, they've changed for the worse. Meanwhile, Drunken Waterfall just claps you on the shoulder and is like, yeah, no. Here's the thing that the Dynasts won't tell you, Excelsior or otherwise. You don't get to pick who your family is by blood. You get to pick who your family is by choice. Just because you got a blood tie to somebody don't mean no nearly as much as the realm will tell you it does.
I'm gonna bashfully look over the hearth at this.
Drunken Waterfall just kind of smiles and nods. Yeah, you get the idea. We made our own family out here because we decided our own was bullshit. My advice to you is you stick with them, and you trust them to keep you on the road, and you do your best to deal with our cousins and keep them off your back and keep them happy. And maybe someday you thrust and just put the knife in their throat instead.
That's what I was working up to. It's kind of nice to have legitimate, just like, permission to do that. It's freeing.
Kid, you don't need permission to do a damn thing. You're a prince of the earth and you were raised to kill people.
Yeah. Yeah, I was. Yeah. I'm gonna help.
This is still assassin.
so glad he
Please clip
became
that.
a
Can someone
murderer.
please clip that one?
SLC family created here.
Just a reminder that Drunken Waterfall is... He's a nice person for an Excelsi. He's also a horrible piece of shit.
These are still assassins.
Yep.
These are still crummy, terrible people who just had a moral backbone and a self-desire to not get murdered by the rest of the assassin family.
It's the best you can do with what you got.
So yeah, Drunken Waterfall just kind of laughs to himself again, looks out towards the swamp. Today was not a day when I expected to have a little cousin wander in.
Can I call you uncle? Is that weird?
Go right ahead, I don't give a shit.
Hell yeah.
You can call me Daisy if you want, I don't fucking care.
No, that's weird now. Come on here. I'm gonna start, just fucking being chummy and stuff.
Nah, whatever. Now listen here. You might actually be the solution to our problems. He kind of pokes you in the chest with that one.
How's that?
You still have an untainted, legitimate connection to the rest of the family who thinks that you are on their side, or at least are willing to tolerate you having questions long enough to keep sending you a list of names to kill.
Oh, I'll totally flip.
Oh, no, that if I was given that as given. My point is that you can work against them to buy us some open space, so we can do all them things that Baldy over there suggested, and then we just deal with normal realm politics rather than the realm politics what got bigger knives.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
And he looks back and sees Repose wandering back over at that comment, and you need something there?
Propose wasn't approaching the talk. Propose is hanging out with Shield now. Having completed the task of deciding whether or not he wants to learn how to fish. The answer is no, but...
How
Yeah,
did
you
catch
do.
fish in the swamp?
What would that be? 3 or 4 silver points for ticking off most of the goals of crafting of the fishing rod. That is a minor project.
Yep.
Okay, so that's 3 or 4. No wait, let's just call it 4 rather than dig in the book in the moment of the conversation. But Waterfall just kind of throws arm around Yang's shoulders. So my suggestion is you start throwing them red herrings. Or you tell them that what's going on in the swamp is a deep cover operation.
Like a false flag?
Yeah. Like, we're pretending to be a Celsi to lure out, I don't know, House Ceasus or somebody. I don't care.
Ooh, that's Bible.
Lure out. Oh, I don't know, House Milan or something. Yeah, those guys.
House Milan?
Damn it, House Beneath.
Beneath.
Yeah. you
House
remember-
Ceasus is
Milan
the
has
other...
declared
yeah.
rebellion against the Beneaths.
Or just shove them into the water. Just shove them right into the water.
House Ceasus is the other much more
Yep.
above board assassin family.
Yeah, I was just making a joke.
But yeah,
Venise goes, this whole betraying your family thing.
I would no. I love my many aunts.
All right. So yeah, you get them distracted. That buys us time, and then we can start dealing with the other local dynasts. And then we just establish this as a damn actual protectorate rather than a fucking everybody's hiding with their heads down and hiding in a foxhole rather than hoping some ghost on the wind comes in with knives and slits all the throats in this camp.
Hey, that would be a good step above this. You could start protecting people and shit.
Am I close enough to hear that last bit?
Yeah, you're within like
Yeah.
20 feet, 30 feet.
Yeah, okay. At the whole protectorate thing, Angler stands completely upright and then turns right back around to go have a conversation.
Hello.
Yeah, what's up, Mustachio?
Thank you. As you can see, I am not exactly of the realm normally.
No shit. Prasad's my guess?
Yeah. So, what was that about a protectorate? Because you have my undivided attention now.
Oh, if we got a kingmaker here in the swamp, if we got somebody who's thinking about some sedition here.
I don't really care about taking control. I don't want power. I don't need power.
Ah, well, then you're boring.
But I want a place that's safe for when everything else burns.
Ah, well, safety we can do you so long as you're happy with it being on the other end of a pointy knife.
When civil war is happening, that's the only kind of safety there is.
Well, then, we could probably come to some sort of arrangement so long as we have a little list of to-do material ticked off for you. But, yeah, no, once we get a couple of local rivals knocked off and a couple of veils of safety over us, yeah, we could probably find some sort of way to making this more legitimate. And anybody you want that don't want a knife in their back on the home island, yeah, you could bring him back over.
Good. I kind of feel good about having a, extracurricular group of friends and not comrades that we can send good, honest people to that are just getting swept up in the petty bullshit of the nobles.
There is a pattern that you may or may not have heard or noticed that when we preyed upon caravans, Fuyuko says, we primarily targeted ones from the realm. That is part of the decision-making that was made when you were walking down the road, unfortunately. We can never quite be sure who is flying the flag, as it were, is working with the family.
Stealing property, whatever. As long as you can do it as cleanly as you can and keep lives to a minimum, like, the only people you're hurting is the dynasts, and who gives a shit?
I mean, well...
not in so many words.
Well, I'm also saying, like, I'm not gonna lie, we've stabbed a fair number of people in them caravans, but we do try to keep it clean enough to not get too many people mad at us, but yeah.
We live in violent times.
But Drunken Waterfall looks back over at Angler. You, though, your idea, I do like your idea. I really like your idea.
Go on.
Let's see, if I still remember my symbolism, that's Nellens, ain't it? The mortals?
Yes.
How they doing, by the way? How's they handling the Empress disappearing? How they feeling it?
Well, we recently acquired 2 legions. That's why I'm out here. I tried to fix it. I did too good of a job.
Ain't that realm politics for you? Do your job! Oh, I did my job. Oh no, we were expecting you to read the job under the job between the letters. You see, you gotta hold the letter upside down, then read it backwards in a cipher, and then you really know what we mean to do. Read my mind or die. That's realm politics for you. That's why I live in a fucking swamp.
I like this guy.
Angler just kind of stares at it for a second and looks back over his shoulder to beneath and goes, see? It was upside down. I told you.
If you say so.
And that one is, oh, you're the little shits that took our fucking family emblem. I don't really hold a grudge against you, though. I'm beyond grudges. Grudges just eat you up on the inside. You gotta kill somebody with an open heart.
Beneath Milan just silently lets out a breath they didn't realize they were holding in the whole time.
Well. You're all probably fucked anyway, because you got the merchant fleet, right? And they got that ripped off Pelops? Because, oh man, I tell you, the first gunshots are probably going to be from Pelops at your boats.
I'm sorry, he said again?
Don't we know it?
What? He looks you up and down. Let me guess. River pirate or trader? Can't tell. 50-50.
Yes.
Obsidian Shield is not a pirate.
Why does everybody keep saying
He's no pirate.
You actually can tell by the huge grin on Drunken Waterfall's face that he somehow knew that would get to
Oh,
you.
he's no pirate.
He somehow knew that that would irritate you. But nah, well. So, long story short, Fisher over there is from the house that is running the merchant fleets now back in the realm. And the merchant fleets back in the realm used to be part of their big navy that they tried to take over the west with and try to guard the home island with. That was the way that they maintained all of them really big boats. They don't have that money anymore. They're mad about that. They're real mad about that.
I pick myself up, dust myself off, and return to the conversation. Yeah, as the young house on the Isles, so to speak, we're not popular.
Well, who needs to be popular when you're powerful? That was what the Excelsi learned.
And neither are we.
Over here on the edge of things, I'm going to approach to like the exact limit of safety distance. I'm going to approach first beyond 10,000. And I'm offering
does
up
look back.
manipulation martial arts. I'm just going to project some fighting aura at this guy.
Go ahead. Give me a 2 dice stunt on that. Give me a 2 dice stunt on that.
Clown. You fucking Nen clown.
All right.
Manipulate. Okay,
So,
that's
9?
initiative.
All right, what I'm
is-
hoping to do here is establish some, well, all right, so I'm flexing at him. Please respond. I have shown you my aura. I know this guy is definitely versed in the dragon styles.
He turns his head around. Golden Janissary, He's very much trying to keep a face of I'm not interested, but he's still scoping you like damn, actually.
Oh man,
Like
I want to
multiple kinds of damn scoping is going on.
The sad thing is, if Loon hadn't done that, I was going to go do that in about 2 minutes. I had more pressing matters of, I don't know, the downfall of the Empire to deal with first, though.
Damn, handsome. All right, fine.
Yeah, no, he's obviously just like, All right. He kind of cracks his neck back and forth. Golden Janissary. I take it you're one of the monasteries out on the fringe.
My sect has wandered in 2 directions, at least, since our founding.
Well.
We
You're
do
in
what we
good hope.
can where we arrive.
Well, you're among company here in that respect. He kind of flexes himself and lowers himself into a pose where you just rolled 9 on martial arts. I'm not going to make you recognize it. He knows Fire Immaculate style. He's sinking himself into the stance of just graceful, quick movements, and on like the sword is still in his hand, but it is not aimed at you. It is off to his side, but he's showing from the movement of his wrists that he can make it just go any direction in any movement wherever
Yeah, that's
he
the
wants.
move.
Yeah, this is someone who knows the Immaculate Styles.
Propose
which,
is
hey,
having the internal monologue where he just lists off everything about Fire Dragon style.
yes, this is presumably of the 3 of these people, probably the one who lit that person's heart on fire. just by virtue of is the fire aspect and knows at least one very powerful martial art.
Now, do interrupt if you've heard this before, but mine is a sacred art for smiting the enemies of the world. But
He just
what would it
shut-
save a man who then turns that art upon his own kin? I am
I
open
see.
to inspiration from other sources, shall we say.
I might be open to instruction in kind. You know, it is always something that is much more pragmatic and learned. To learn from others versed in the martial arts a little more fluently than those who control them are informed. Meanwhile, on the other side, Drunken Waterfall kind of slips by Yang over to Absolute Repose and looks him up and down. Oh, we're showing off our moves here.
Hell yeah.
welcome to Boxing Corner over here. For boxers only, real boxing hours.
Yeah, no, you got Joel Golden Janistary and you got Fancy Fire Monk style, but I bet you ain't seen this one before. He kind of pulls himself back into what looks like, at first, is going to be some sort of crane stance until it begins to sway and posture and just. The best way you could describe it is crane stance for fuckers, unless you can roll me a martial arts roll to figure out what the hell
I mean, he's right next to me. Why not?
Check out this cool style. I take a pose, slip, fall down onto my ass, and it was entirely
I can
unclear
give
what
you for
form of
free. This is
buttlock
not
I was
Drunken
in.
Fist. This is not Drunken Fist.
What
I
am I
wasn't
rolling
saying
besides
that.
martial arts here?
This is perception martial arts to try to figure out what the hell he's imitating.
Oh boy. Hold on a second.
For all the world, he looks like an incredibly angry goose spreading its wings and honking.
Hunking Goose style.
The way
Wait,
of the
hold up.
untitled.
Hold up. You know Ghost Style? Oh, have you met them?
I've witnessed their prowess.
Really? Ah! She gets around.
You know the goose step?
Geese. Hunking Goose style is in fact a flaw, like it's a style entirely based around counters from 3 different directions.
Okay, you joke, but yes, it is.
Oh
I
my
mean,
god,
yeah.
is that a real thing I just said?
No, this is a martial art that I made up for the NPCs.
Okay, good. Okay,
If,
good.
if the PCs ever show an interest in Goose Style, I will probably give you the notes I have for it, but there is a Goose Style in this setting that certain characters will know.
I love it.
I
There's also an
maybe
extremely
would like to
complicated.
inherit goose style.
There's also an extremely complicated move that you have to do. You do that is like
Pretzel motions.
an incredibly perfect anti-air though. Like grab
Yeah.
something right out of the air and crush them.
But yeah, the joke out of character is I made up Goose Style because I just had to do something with Geese Howard, but I also then combined it with Untitled Goose. What if it's just the style about being the biggest piece of shit that you can't hit?
Nice.
So this is Drunken Waterfall's secret technique learned from his honored Sifu. Goose Style.
Nice.
I approve.
So he kind of just drops back into his kind of swaying, kind of idle animation stance. It's just like, well, I figured I was one of the only ones who knew that. Huh. Go figure.
Geese.
Kind of takes the wind out of your sails, huh?
Not really. I'm just happy she's going around teaching it more.
Whom?
Oh, well, you know.
Oh, she's very talented.
Mm-hmm. It's this is actually an in-character stutter. What's the term, the aphorism, the what the say the a gentleman never spars and tells, I think is the name. He's just got a big shit-eating grin on his face the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
You're a goblin.
Thank you, I try.
Regardless. For the time being, I've my obligations to complete my inheritance of the family art.
Mm.
But in seasons to come, it is good to know that there are those who understand that the way of the dragon does not belong isolated within temple walls.
This pricks up Milan's ears.
And first beyond 10,000 immediately picks up on that and looks towards Milan. Like, just immediate zeroes in on Milan, like, hang on. He reads your basic posture up and down. You don't look like a monk, but you carry yourself a little like a couple I used to know.
Well, there may have been a day or so where I could have called myself a monk. Not of my own will.
Paperwork error?
Got it in one.
Yep. That happens more often than they told you. Whatever they told you, it happens more often than that.
Mm-hmm.
Old man. Now his eyes are on old man just creeping around.
Old man is just watching everything go down because
Old
this is a
man
whole
just
bunch of
clonking around.
this is a whole bunch of dynastic talk that he's never been privy to before. Like he's just vaguely interested in like the discussions going on.
Mm-hmm. So, Drunken Waterfall, in the meantime, while Milan and First Beyond are discussing a little bit of that, wanders up to Old Man. So, wizard, right?
Excuse me?
I mean, I
Step
don't
away
see
a
the
moment.
average person got fucking giant sticks for feet and skin of, what is that? Copper, brass, bronze. I never knew these metals too well. I wasn't a fucking nerd.
I'm simply a student of the mountain.
Right, wizard. Okay, hang on. Wait, hold up. Whoa. Student of the mountain. Hold up. Which one?
Oh, in general. Sure, I
Are-
spend most of my time on a specific nameless, unimportant mountain, basically.
But,
right
but
outside
like
Great
the,
Falls.
the general area.
Yeah. But honestly, I don't have a tremendous amount of attachment to it specifically now.
Huh. Alright. So you're that old man down on that mountain. Nice to meet you.
He does not answer likewise or anything of the sort.
Ah, a meeting.
That's not-
Yes.
That is not even like intended to be disrespectful. It's just interesting. Someone actually appreciates that.
I lean into Vinif and just go, does old man have friends?
Maybe he has a fan club.
Does old man know people?
Do people know old man is the more often the
Do
question.
people know old man?
Drunken Waterfall just kind of wanders back over towards Fuyuko. Just kind of checks out again at the conversation, stares out into space.
Does he seem to be listening to something while he's checked out? Like the wind or what have you? Because I'm trying to figure out how he knows so goddamn much.
Roll me perception awareness to get a good read on him, just in general.
Yeah, okay. 6.
This is somebody who is one of two things. He is either incredibly good at playing the idiot savant and is like paying supernatural attention to everything around him at all times, or he is exactly like that and he is still incredibly capable of doing things. He just doesn't care to be professional about it. Either way, you are actually looking at somebody who is very well connected and very, like, you would expect that for as goofy as he looked in Goose style, if you actually got into a fist fight with this guy, he'd be about as scary as First Beyond. He is very competent at what he does. He is from a family of assassins. He's also just a gremlin. There is a reason that he is one of the lieutenants, and you can actually see it as you're paying attention to him, because he is very clearly, like, as he is zoned out and checked out and staring into space, he's not actually just staring out and not processing. It's more like taking in so much sensory information that he seems to zone out.
And that makes me curious, like, if these two are as competent as they are, what's the deal with the guy we beat up?
Do you
That was
ask
a
that?
6-on-1, my dude.
Number one, yes. But number two, do you ask that out loud?
It's more of a, so what's with the gentleman we beat up into a pulp over there that's in the moss? Was it moss? Fungus?
Oh, Riotous
Awesome.
Lycan? Riotous Lycan just gets way too excited and he's in a fight. Overestimates his own ability way too much. His biggest weakness is that he thinks he's much more tough than he is. He's really, really dangerous when he actually gets you on the ground and starts, like, ground pounding you and just punching you in the mouth or just ripping you open. But, he always assumes that his backup is always going to have his back more often than it often does when we aren't there, is the problem. He's real good in a fight. He just can't take a punch to save his life.
Yeah, the mention of backup, I again look back over at the giant crocodile and go, yeah, backup. Okay, sure.
Crocodile just as embarrassed as a crocodile can look, just kind of sinks a little bit into the water, just like. But yeah, it's Riotous Lycan gets way too into sports. Is basically the quick version.
I'm sorry, that name is the best of all the names here. I love it so much.
Yep. Starting recently, I actually Morgan from the Discords and chats compiled a good list of template names for Broken Worlds. Actually, the Kill 6 Billion Demons game, and Riotous Lycan was one of the names inspired by that list. So I'm happy it's good, and Morgan was very good at making that template.
Yeah, that sounds like a crime botanist name.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So, are there any other questions that you would have for these three, renegade Celsi assassins who guard a demon fortress in the middle of the swamp? And again, if you have political questions about the map, I can just shift you to the map and you can start asking them questions and they will answer what they know if you want to do that. Because, they're connected. This is probably the most politically connected people in this region you have met. So I will just shift over to the map.
I have a few, but I don't want to stop Yang from having a super happy, fun family times.
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely
well,
takes the lead in setting any tone.
Yeah.
Let's swamp crew here.
Mm-hmm.
We can safely abstract out the rest of Yang's family time and just be drip feeding information later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or I could do a side thing with you at some point, or do a quick little thing, in general, you now have a supportive quasi family unit that lives in the swamp and are a bunch of gremlins and are actually more functional than your actual forcible adopted family.
Which is to say, even a little bit.
Hmm?
Which is to say, at all, even a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is now more. You can use these people now that you have not even you are now allies with the Swamp Bandits. And
we have got to change that name.
Nope.
Yeah, the problem is you've allowed yourself to be labeled as bandits.
As out of character, they actually encouraged that label because they didn't. Again, they're all Celsi. They want to look like common criminal bandits, not the realm's elite assassin family. They want to just be overlooked. Anyone who thinks that that's an easy challenge will come in and meet a family of Celsi assassins and not leave to report otherwise.
Weird, they keep dying.
Ironically, bandits might be the best cover for them.
Yeah, they chose it on purpose. Until the political situation changes, they don't want to stick out. They just want to look like garden variety local crime that lures in idiots. But yeah, if any of the group has particular questions about the politics of the region or the areas or anything else marked on the map, to pose to any or all of them.
Has Teeth been up to anything in swamp vicinity?
Teeth. Oh, you mean the
Teeth.
lunar. Right. What's his actual name? Drunken Waterfall yells over to the alligator, who very uncomfortably shifts. Like, Wild Devouring Bismuth Maw is his official title.
Yes, Teeth.
Teeth, got it.
Yeah, teeth. No, he sticks up on the mountain. I haven't really heard anything to do with him for long ass time. I think spends most of his time bothering the God's Breath people.
Is teeth really a problem?
Well, that's what I want to find out.
I don't fucking know. He spends most of his, like I said, most of his time is just spent. He's a very secretive type, you see, and as far as I know, his days are mostly spent trying to undermine the people in the God's Breath River region.
Teeth
Why?
is only.
Well, I don't really know his motives in particular, but if I had to take an educated guess myself based on the geopolitical nature of this region and all the parties involved, the person who runs it's a dick.
Mood.
Okay.
Yeah, that's usually how that works.
Every so often when any of the bandits or the crocodile drops a word like geopolitical, Spanner just kind of shakes his head a couple seconds, like, I'm not expecting this.
No, Drunken, again, every time you visibly react to that, Drunken Waterfall's smile just keeps getting wider, because, again, he's loving this. He's just loving having people to fuck with.
Oh, I thought it was the crocodile who was saying that.
Oh, no, well, it could have been either. And honestly, same kind of energy on both of them.
Yeah, if it's... I've already kind of got an idea, of Waterfall, but it's the crocodile ever so often, like, dropping into very educated terms such as, where am I, and what have I been drinking?
You are in
I
swamp.
did not have any of the swamp vodka, but maybe I should have.
So yeah, Teeth does live up in Lunar's territory, ? They can't really give you anything more than that vague area of the map because they live on the bottom of a mountain and they don't interact with them.
So my eye is drawn to Plague.
Plague? They kind of look at that.
Yeah,
They all
it's
look at each other. I
near
don't
the
know.
runic.
You know what that means? No. The three of them just kind of shrug. If that's new, if that's something, that's new. We haven't been out that way long enough to hear about that.
Ooh, that's concerning. That's at the fork of a crossroad.
I will point out the bandits in the southwest corner of the map. Anything about these fools?
Oh, them. Ugh. Well. Best I can say for them is that they, No, actually, I don't have anything nice to say about them fuckers. They back when the guild used to do more of its open racketeering at the slave industry, that was one of their primary sources before they dialed back on that because of local pushback. But now the slave trade's mostly homegrown for skirmishes back and forth between villages and things like that. But them fuckers is just they don't even have a good reason for what they're doing.
Most of the time, bandits don't have a good reason for what they're doing, rather than it's easier than a common life.
Aye. Where'd you get this map anyway? It's a pretty detailed map.
Oh, you know.
We traded for it. We have a trader right here. He's not a pirate.
Drunken Waterfall laughs. All right. I know a question I shouldn't push when I hear it. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I'm going to keep this really brief on questions and such, but Flying River Province. Obviously, you mentioned that I believe Koi is from that section, right?
Yeah, that's basically the territory that Koi Invictus runs. Mostly, she kind of keeps her hands off the place, gets to kind of run itself. It's more along the lines that you go in them lines and you start any troubles, you got your wizard or near problems.
Is that a capital B behemoth or just Gaia being Gaia?
Capital B. Oh no, that ain't fairy shit. That's just
That's just the
That's
all
just a-
mother sense of humor in motion, as will
Yep.
happen.
Yep. That's local wildlife. Wild with the I rather than the Y. I mean, if you gonna go wrestle it, I'm not gonna fucking stop you. But it ain't no existential threat or nothing, unless you go make it mad, and which it is to you.
All right, I've been meaning to ask this of anyone who understood this map. What's the deal with the Empire of the Battle Axe?
Bronze
Sosi
axe.
Fuyiko leans forward. That is the rather self-aggrandizing title of a mercenary company that moved in and displaced a former kingdom that was there. They are mostly noteworthy for the level of brutality of their takeover. In the Hundred Kingdoms, most interpolitical fights involve some manner of prisoner exchange or understanding that certain levels of local administration will remain and continue to function as they were. Hateful Eyes, the leader of the Bronze Axe Mercenary Company, now the Empire of the Bronze Axe, had a policy where anyone from the village elder level up in a position of power was executed and replaced with a personally vetted choice.
Cool.
It is
cool.
It is a small tyranny that in time, I believe, will provoke its neighbors enough to solve the problem. I believe there may still be some remnants of the kingdom they displaced in the area. There have always been rumors of some sort of resurgent movement, but I've never been able to locate where they are.
Any neighbor who is particularly angry with them right now?
Well, they're entirely terrified of the God's Breath River above the mountain above them because the Hateful Eyes is a mortal, while the Steel-Tearing Bureaucrat is a Prince of the Earth. So they live in fear of the mountain folk coming down across the ridge and ending them, frankly.
But you said the leader of the mountain folk was a dick?
That's what I said, is Drunken Waterfall. It's kind of just a very micromanaging kind of chop down the trees. Anybody in my way gets added to my hegemony or, gets their head removed from their shoulders type. There ain't a whole lot of upstanding folk out here.
I'm filing that under the hard but not necessarily worst person ever category in my head as I'm going through this. Like, we can talk with this person, not we're going to obliterate this person and everyone that they were a part of.
Yes, that is the general impression, is average level of merciless tyrant for an autocratic ruler in this region in time, where Hateful Eyes is actually noteworthy for the neighbors of, no, well, hold up, that's just being a dick.
Yeah, if you're getting people around you who are assholes to notice that what you're doing, then you've certainly proven yourself in some way.
Someone who's gone outside the socially acceptable level of violence.
Yeah, exactly.
That was over here, right?
That's in the top right, yes. And as somebody in chat mentioned, it is kind of like Mountain Blade, where you start executing other nobles and the entire world hates you. That's Empire of the Bronze Axes. They just started chopping heads off left and right rather than actually doing ransoms.
Ransoms, exile.
Mm-hmm.
And then last thing is on Jade. Is that Orchid?
Yeah, Jade Orchid Prefectures. That's one of the reasons that we have kept our heads down, unfortunately. That is the personal territory of Sinus Lysea. That is one of the errant heirs of the House Sinus, who, rather than accept some sort of structure of power on which they were not at the top, decided to wander out into the 100 Kingdoms and make one. It is a tiny model of the realm itself.
Really?
And I don't necessarily mean that as a compliment.
No, that's fine, but that means if, oh, I don't know, that person disappeared and they saw people from the realm, they might listen to us.
Perhaps. It is certainly one of the people on the short list of things standing in the way of us being a more politically stable and open.
It's free real estate.
Yep, yep, oh yeah.
It's free real estate.
Way ahead of you.
And
what do you think that I've been doing this whole time? Just making a list of, we hit this one first. If we don't take over this one, we go to this one.
And then Fallen River Valley, just because that's the last one that has not had a question asked of it, is currently run by Harmonious Steward Rio. It is a republic, actually, of all things. Very
That's
uncommon.
not going to last.
No, it's certainly not. It's already got systemic issues of corruption that are beginning to become more public as Rio is running it much more autocratically. But that's basically the quick pitch, is that it is a republic that is on generally tenuously diplomatically neutral to good terms with everyone around it, and has a bandit problem, because they're the ones that the bandits usually hit the most.
They are on the way to Koi.
I don't know which one to visit first.
As an aside, Sidian just leans in. As he had zoned out for the first half of this explanation, was Plague asked about?
Plague is new to them. Plague is something they are not aware of.
Recent event, maybe?
Okay. Second two thing, do you know about these two?
Oh, those are just villages out in the woods that don't have a grand political backing force behind them. It's like Clay Bottom and
There
some of the
are
other villages.
widespread woodland folk out here.
Okay.
Like, again, remember, for all the blank cells on this map is where probably 80 to 90% of the people in this region actually live. It's just that they're not in giant villages or towns. So yeah, that is the map rundown. Unless you had any other questions of it, we will shift back to Swamp Map. So are there any other discussions, priorities, thoughts to have with the Swamp crew before heading back out?
It's more of a Yang, how long do you want to stick around? I don't want to stop you from
Oh, no,
interacting
I'm
with
good.
people.
Let's go.
Okay.
Like, again, we can also have it modeled where if Yang wants to stay in character, that can be somewhat abstracted, or Yang can just leave and... Actually, hold on. What is the... Oh, no, wait, no, hold on. As this discussion goes back and forth, it becomes apparent that Drunken Waterfall, at least of the three of them, if not more of them, know Wind Carried Words technique. So if you need to actually be in contact, they can help be in contact that way.
Well, I mean, my next question was going to be if one of them wants to come with us in order to see that we're kind of trustworthy. Like, this has been pretty abrupt. I want to make sure that they don't, like, suspect that we're horrible people or what have you, even though we do have Yang with us.
No, they'd kill us by now if that was the case.
Yeah, they've openly said if they had any suspicions against you, you would already be dead on the ground.
Fair.
But like, if you wanted one of them to come with you, it would probably be Drunken Waterfall, but then you would be having Drunken Waterfall following you around. Which is, either in your definition, that's either a good thing or a bad thing.
I'm trying to find a way not to say, oh God, no, but I don't think it really is my call in that regard.
Yeah, whatever. I'll just come back when, we're done doing a sedition.
Yeah, okay. So they'll stay home, and again, if they have anything urgent they need to tell you, they will use Wind Carried Words technique.
You do live out here.
Yeah, they do live here. They
time.
won't be moving much. But yeah, that I believe would wrap up this scene. So we can go again back to the world map as the ball's in the court of the players as to what their next long-term goal or travel destination is.
Thoughts?
Koi still made sense as like the next VIP to visit and get a measure of.
Yeah.
And we're in swamp, so road and waterway are right there to head in that direction anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Go to Fallen River, maybe fight some brigands, maybe fight Fallen River, and then carry on our way.
If I would also say, if you specifically mentioned that you wanted to go to the Fallen River province, I will list off that list of villages. I will ping them as I do, because this is one that they live close enough that they actually know all of the major villages in the area.
Okay.
Let me just pull up the notes that has the list of names.
Maybe what's up?
I had
This is the Placard is the name of this stronghold because it guards the belly. This is the temple at the river crossing, which is one of the immaculate temples of the area. This is Short End, and this is it's a mine of some sort. Yeah, it's Tinton. It's Tin Tinton, Tin Town Mine. And then the major city center for Fallen River. So that would be basically the influences. There is an immaculate temple in the area, and there is a fortress against the bandits.
Going to leave behind one cat figurine. Swamp Bandit Village.
Excellent.
Before leaving, so Obsidian would have processed that the demon is bad.
Demon bad.
Yeah.
Demon currently.
Obsidian, and also by some association, because myself and I am the pilot of Obsidian, doesn't understand fully why demon is bad. Like, doesn't understand to the degree that demon is bad. Like, why is demon bad exactly? Like, what is, like, not in the fact of like, could demon be good? Of more like, on the scale of 1 to 10, why he is on where he is on the scale. That sort of thing.
Demon is an unmaker of sorts.
Yes.
The swamp that eats.
Demon is a problem because demon decides what is and is not pure about something and then eats everything that isn't that.
Right.
It is less malicious and more a very large problem for everything around it.
It is a natural disaster.
Yes.
So before leaving, because they're on the way out, and just this is a thought that has been on Obsidian's mind the entire time of like, okay, so we've made our thing, we have stopped the demon from being able to do anything, but we have to constantly be here to make sure nobody opens the door or else the demon gets out. Obsidian would just say the very simple thought on his mind of, so how would we permanently take care of demon?
Well, that's a very good question.
Complicated question.
There's a couple of options. The first of all would be to find some manner of sorcerer beyond the level of power of the Princes of Earth that would be able to forcibly banish it back to where it came from.
Wow.
Another option would be to physically discorporate it in order to end its existence here in our realm, which in short involves killing it, which is, from personal experience, that's most certainly not going to be easy.
Ask again in 5 years, and I will say ask again in 20 years.
Yeah. And the other longer-term option is, in theory, when we initially made the seal, we thought it would starve itself to death and simply drop dead and decay and return to where it came. Unfortunately, because it eats impurity, and as a creature of Malpheus, its very presence twists creation, as a sort of impurity. It unfortunately has created just enough of a feedback loop to feed itself by its own presence. If there was some way of preventing the area around it from reacting to its presence and maintaining absolute immunity to its changing nature as a creature of Malthus, in theory, it would actually be able to be completely starved, but that is entirely a theoretical on my idea, because that would require a change of the environment beyond even what Koi Invictus could be doing.
So I'm just saying this out of character.
Mhm.
What if we stick the Fae at it?
What if we
That
summon
would
a
be
second,
bad.
larger demon from an opposing entity?
My eyes just kind of went from don't to wildfire pocket back to don't.
See, that's
Pretty
the beauty
much.
of it. Then we send in the gorillas, and then the winter freezes them.
Pretty much, Obsidian takes all that in, wordlessly nods. Okay, turns away.
I understand entirely. Doesn't understand
No,
anything.
actually understands entirely. It is very obvious that he is thinking something. Is there a place to put down personal goals of the character? Because Obsidian now has personal goal of deal with that demon. That demon does not need to be there.
You could
probably
record
make
that
an
as an
intimacy.
intimacy. Yeah.
Yeah, like make
Yeah.
an intimacy of demon, or like a principle. The demon in the swamp must be destroyed. Minor.
Monster, you
Intimacy,
don't belong in this
subject.
world.
Don't.
Yeah, or just like have it listed as a like a principle. Just don't remove.
Dash. What if wasn't?
Yes. Yeah, and Yang, you're probably gonna want to make intimacies with your new family, just in general. If you want to have that set at major right immediately, I'll let you do that.
Nice. Doing a big
'Cause-
trainer.
This is actually like because you could just mark them as major or whatever, like just for free, right? Yeah, this is actually pretty major for Obsidian. He sees that as a problem that doesn't need to be there, because as long as that is there, it will be a problem at some point.
Yeah. It is minor is you can do that without any finagling. Major is you usually have to give some justification as to why it is so important that you are going from 0 to major immediately. 0 to defining almost never happens unless it is a character-changing, life-altering event.
I will make it a 2.
Yeah.
But like pretty
Like
much
defining is like
the way this again does go with Obsidian sort of thing of like he thinks people should be allowed to do what they want, and right now swamp bandits can't really do too much of the want. Mind you, there are other things to that as well, but this is one of the defining reasons that they just can't leave.
Mhm.
They are tied to this. This needs to go away.
Mhm.
Although, so the suggestion to leave the swamp bandits with, as they think about the possibility of, ever being able to take a step back into lighter shadows. There are no good arenas within weeks of travel of where we are. What do you think any of the local, lesser clans and households would pay to have the opportunity to settle their disputes in a rickety wooded cage over a nest of hungry gators?
Sports. Re-enter diplomacy via sports. Shit. Yeah,
You're having
okay,
trouble
I'll note that
attracting
down.
people into the swamp. Give them entertainment. Also, you're having trouble finding new fighters. Create entertainment.
Man, you're a fucking problem.
Attract talent.
I am literally putting down in my notes in all caps sports-based diplomacy. So thank you. Yep. And yeah, no, visibly as you give the suggestion, Drunken Waterfall is like ecstatic at the idea and is immediately trying to convince the other two.
Let's not bring more attention to ourselves. Well, what if we started a sports arena and immediately attracted more attention?
Whatever, it's just commerce. It's a front.
That's long-term plans, but we gotta set it up or not. It's a long-term plan, but we should really start working on it so we can really have a fucking great show.
The earth in Repose's blood. He's screaming out that he should just make a coliseum here and now. I know exactly how much gravel it would take to fill this marsh. It's obvious.
Swamp Father's in on this, right, Swamp Father?
Swamp Father has no official opinion that contradicts Swamp Mom, Swamp Aunt.
Swamp.
Does Swamp Father want to come with us?
The Swamp Father is literally
Swamp Father has work to do.
categorically bound to Swamp. Like, he could get you to the edge of the swamp, and then if he leaves, he is both depowered and in huge trouble with the bureaucracy.
There's important swamp work to do.
Okay, I'm okay heading to the west from here then.
Yeah. Why
All right.
don't we start heading west?
Possibly dealing with problems in the, river area there. And
Like
if the
some sort
bandits
of-
find us, then we can get rid of the actual bad bandits. Unless we
some-
find out they are also benevolent bandits that are guarding some
Swamp
sort of
canoe
evil
out.
demon thing.
And
Oh,
then
no.
we can just knock over the temple.
And Swamp Canoe is enabled.
Did someone
and
say that out
used.
loud?
Maybe we
It's-
don't do that yet.
Actually, yeah, no, you wouldn't be going to the road. You'd just be going like through here. So it's about noon the following day, and you're about this far on the river when, as you are traveling, Vinith Milan, you get a ping with your unseen detection of something invisible is in your presence.
Oop, let me make the roll.
Do you alert us to that happening?
Let me determine if I succeed on the roll.
Remember,
Revelation, perception.
succeeding the roll just lets you know where it is if
Yes.
it's hiding. Having the ping at all is an innate part of having the charm. Is you will always know something is around.
Pulls up awareness charms. Just getting ready.
Suppose I should change off the swamp ambience. Give me a moment.
So I don't know where it is, but there's something immaterial nearby.
All right. One moment. Well, mostly just kind of a nod and then just starts looking around. We do have our horses back at this point? Or we have our animals, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah.
You could use wind carried words to have them have orders to meet you at the river and then just follow
Yeah.
along.
First thing being observer awareness method. I'm going to guess I'm going to get the one success, but I'll just do it anyway.
Mhm.
Okay. How many people are watching us or things are watching us?
One.
Okay. Just the one then.
Motion to absolute repose for mirror time.
You also know how to do that. That's not a no, but
Actually, as it becomes apparent that it has been noticed, there is a flickering on the edge of your perception, and a translucent rider on a ghostly horse is on the banks of the river looking at you. And Repose instantly recognizes them as one of the workers at the monastery where Repose usually resides. It is one of the ghostly attendants of the temple, and looks like it has come here as a messenger, and has used a mote to become visible to non-magical senses, and is waving to flag down the group.
now a moment, I'll take this. Leap off of Swamp Canoe to the shore. Just
The ghost dismounts from the horse, gets down on the ground, and kowtows to Repose to show respect before raising his head. Honored brother, I come bearing important news.
speak.
The ghost looks back to the crew. Private news. I'm unsure how. Is this?
What?
It
We can't hear you. We're on the canoe.
is deliberately speaking low so they can't hear.
Yeah.
It regards your grandmother.
We are in
She
fair
is safe.
company.
She has brought a message that I don't know how this would be said in character. It's the ghost charm that lets you project a scene, so it is going to be using that, and it
All right.
wants to know if you're okay with having them see that.
I'll take this in private.
Okay. So this would be you just
Character-wise, yeah, we'll take this a bit of a distance away. Player-wise, everyone gets to.
Yeah, everyone will be. This is going to be. I'm going to warn you in advance. This is going to be somewhat of a monologue scene as part of an update to ongoing plot.
Several
So if
cutscenes
players
will play in succession.
Yes, but if players want to like chime in, even if you don't know in character what's happening, you can feel free. You don't have to stay silent the whole time I'm doing the descriptions. But this is going to be a little bit of a me talking to myself section.
Propose is probably going to proceed to share this afterwards.
All right, so you walk some distance away to get some distance behind a hill, and the ghost kneels down, bites the palm of their hand to leak out the plasma of blood, and casts it through the air to create a plasmic call that settles on a pair of figures sitting across each other on a low table. One of the figures, sitting cross-legged with one elbow on her knee and her hand resting on her closed fist, is Absolute Repose's nth great-grandmother, the matriarch of the Golden Janissaries, the ghostly patron of the entire sect. In her lap is a very fat tabby cat with completely dilated pupils and flattened back ears staring across the table at Skin Man, who is sitting with his knees sitting in a respectfully kneeling pose on a pillow, holding a cup of tea that has been provided on the table that Grandma has her own and is not drinking from. The spectral representation of Skin Man, the specter, takes its long bony fingers that hold the cup in a tip and takes what would normally be a sip if it had lips, but it actually just has to open its mouth and empty the tea into the back of its throat before putting the cup back down on the table. I thank you for honoring the hospitality request that I have given you. And, it strikes me all of a moment that I did not write down. What was the name of your matriarch, Loon? I know that you told me, but I didn't write it down somewhere I can see quickly.
Gently whispered praise. The late Grand Abbess.
Yes. Praise looks over to him with a barely concealed scowl. I am obligated to give you hospitality when correctly requested, so I have given it to you. I would like to ensure that you do not press your luck while you are in my walls. The specter just kind of quietly chuckles to itself. Oh, I have no intention of doing so, believe me. And if I give any offense, I do apologize. I merely wanted to travel here and grant you congratulations and honest and respect on raising such a wise grandson. And Praise narrows her eyes even more and leans forward. What did you do to my grandson? Figure raises its claws. You misunderstand me. I give you genuine praise. Your descendant, Absolute Repose, was possessed of immense wisdom and incredible acuity and senses when first we met.
I give you genuine praise. Brief moment of just dead stare of face. That's your name. Get it? Carrying on.
Yes, no, yeah, no. I'm glad that you caught that inflection in my voice. But Skin Man says, no, you misunderstand. I truly wanted to thank you and your grandson, whenever he receives a message back from you, for his assistance in a situation that I was involved in, and frankly, to praise him in his own abilities in the mastery of the arts that you have taught him. They were quite effective. I can testify to that. Praise has a look on her face somewhere between deep contempt and irritation and, yeah, that's my grandson. And just is silent while Skin Man takes another gulp from the cup and puts it down gently. You see, I was bound against my will, I will most certainly tell you, to be in service of one of the more recent acquisitions of my erstwhile master, the Mask of Winters. He bid me to give service to one of his new toys, and I was obligated to follow through with that service. I did not enjoy it in the slightest, and in my own estimation, I believed that the new acquisition my master had gotten was going to get him into much more problems in the future. Of course, there was no small amount of personal contempt involved, but I'm sure you can't blame me for such feelings. Praise is still just scowling. I will skip the finer details and go to the point where your grandson and a collection of the other princes of the earth that presumably he had wrangled upon hearing of the disturbances in the 100 Kingdoms did end up finding him, and despite my master's pet's best efforts, he was overwhelmed, and your grandson, in one strike, decapitated him with his hands. Praise just gives a single begrudging nod. You're not here to brag about my grandson, nor are you here to be boasting about the plans of the mask. Skin Man steeples its bony claws together. You are correct. As you always are. You are, as ever, one of the most insightful and wise ghosts of your generation in this region of the world.
I've come to tell you your grandson kicks ass. Sorry.
No. It's just, again, this is I was just doing a pause.
Yep.
I would under ordinary circumstances have more to discuss with you, but unfortunately, all I can say at the moment is that I have been assigned to a new task and a new taskmaster that unfortunately I have no longer had any ability to discuss the particulars of. It seems that while my quite honestly surprising beating at the hands of your grandson and his associates was useful in making sure that the mask understood my point of view considerably more than if I had returned unharmed. He realized there were certain loopholes in his original bindings. So any that I may or may not currently have prevent me from discussing them in further detail. He takes another grasp of the tea, but does not drink it this time, just holds it between his claws, looks across at her. You'll have to forgive me by asking you to leave that out of your mind then when I bring you completely unrelated, I assure you, news that the Weaver upon the Loom of Flesh has been receiving a most interesting visitor recently. And Praise literally bolts upright into a standing pose, just fist clenched, cat busting out of her lap, ready to nearly leap across the table to Skin Man, who is so tall that while kneeling, he is looking eye to eye with with Praise, and he gently holds up one hand, still holding the tea in one. This is not a threat. This is not a statement. This is merely, I figured that you would be interested in hearing some of the activities of your old, shall we say, acquaintance. I figured that it would be of use to you and yours to know that he has certain visitors. Of course, again, unrelated to anything else we've discussed. That was more a preface to discuss your wonderful family, I assure you. Praise, like staring absolute holes into his eyes. All right. What do you want? Skin Man tips the tea back into his back of his throat, and then tosses the cup into his mouth and crushes it with his teeth, and swallows the shards. I am unfortunately currently barred from mentioning this utterly unrelated fact about the Weaver to the mask. As you see, bindings can often sometimes have multiple sources of orders, and sometimes they contradict. All I am asking is that you keep that in mind, that there are certain maneuvers going on amongst the 13 that it may be in your interest to approach them about, or perhaps to keep in mind while you are dealing with their pets. He bows his head again to praise. I thank you again for your hospitality, but I believe that I'm wearing it thin. I will take my leave. And he bows again, sweeping his hand across his chest in a kind of deep dip, and tatters of skin tear themselves away from him as he is blown away like leaves in the wind, but skin, and the skin disintegrates on a plasmic wind.
Just in the skin.
Mm-hmm. And with that, the phantasmal vision fades. The messenger ghost looks up to Repose. She was very intent on me getting you this message as quickly as I could, and she understood that you may be up to any number of activities at the moment, and understood that they may have high priorities, but whenever you are available to come home, she would like to discuss this with you personally.
Understood. You've done well to bring this to my attention with appropriate urgency.
The ghost bows again. Is there any messages that you would like?
Hero. You need not convey a reply. I will contact the abbess by my own means at an appropriate time. Peace be with you.
Okay. The ghost remounts its horse and just sets back off on its way.
All right, so the next point along the road that we're stopping to camp.
Just immediately in the middle of the day, just pulling over to the road and stopping for a moment.
Are you okay?
Everything all right?
Yeah, Repose is definitely looking visibly encaged by news.
There's
Hey,
a distinct
big
lack
guy?
of repose going on.
About repose. I give Vinny a 5-5.
It would not be unfitting, the circumstances, to perhaps set up camp for the midday?
Anyone want to pull over for lunch?
Just briefly looking up at the sun, as you can train to do for short bursts of time. Just, sir.
Hey, Vinny, can we pull over and take a break? My constitution sure is taking a turn for the worse.
Yeah, let's pull over. I'll make sandwiches.
Ooh, nice.
All right, set up the meeting hut.
Deploy the tent.
Like, how bad is this, really?
Not the worst.
Okay. That's a start. How urgent is it?
Fairly.
We should probably go take care of it then, huh?
But before that, what is this urgency? What did that messenger tell you?
There was a messenger?
Oh yeah,
Obsidian Shield just completely missed the ghost.
there was a note on
Obsidian
the
can't
horn.
see ghosts.
No, the ghost made itself visible like to everyone, but I still find it funny that Obsidian was just looking the wrong way.
Also, Obsidian can't see ghosts. New character trait.
Well, it needn't be said at this point, but be mindful of what goes unsaid.
Mm-hmm.
What?
As a professional, my relation to the departed is atypical for clergy of the world. Clergy who operate under heaven's laws
What kind
and
of
nature's
what kind
laws.
of scandalous are we talking about here?
Nature's force.
Frankly, we've apparently met your family, and by the magnitude of conversation that followed, I would suspect that to most of you, yours is the greater controversy, complication. The details of your history are unclear to me. We may, at your leisure, as you wish, approach that further.
Oh, that's easy. Kidnapped in the woods, taught to kill, gave vague blood vendetta by a bunch of assassins, and just kind of let loose.
We have more in common than you may expect.
Just kind of, huh? Okay.
My family does not originate in these lands. We have traveled over great distance, great time.
Are you from space?
No one is from space. Don't be foolish.
It's not a fae.
Repose is so used to being very intensely conditioned to not share any aspect of this story that actually putting it in order is taking a moment of effort. Eventually, you just settled on rustling around in his stuff for a moment and then taking out a reliquary box that he's kept with him. And on the front of it, this very detailed, ornate carving, this mosaic, many stones and bits of lacquer, is an illustration of, first above, recognizably, a panel of the heavens. The sun and moon, the signs of the planets, the little constellations all etched in there. In the middle register, the world. The 5 dragons intertwined together in various bits of art that are recognizable as being, about notable elemental figures who are out there in the pantheon. And then a third panel extending below into the shadows cast by heaven on the world. To the underworld. To the void.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, a little more in common than I thought, huh?
He lets that speak for itself a little bit, and then that's aside. He's extremely careful when handling this box. Highly important, but keeping that there. The surviving record of my lineage dates back to the declining years of the shogunate. The years of the contagion. To that great calamity which nearly struck all life from the world. You are certainly no strangers to that troubled age.
Indeed.
But particularly looking at Milan and Spanner, do not succumb to the mistake of thinking that that age had only a few heroes. All who survived those troubled times were beings of greatness. Those who ushered what remained of humanity through that darkness and into our current era. It was in that age that a valiant daughter of the earth would in time come to understand that she was of flame, though at that time she was not yet ignited. Was a priestess in what remained of a city reduced to a fledgling village on the banks of one of the great rivers of the southeast. This just actually takes some time to spell out. He actually goes looking through. There is some text available. He has scriptures. He has books. Not to be mired in detail. Let's start from the other end.
Hold up.
Okay.
Flips the book back to the back page.
Our victory over the dirge has not proven without consequence. I have been made aware that that being was in fact a knight in the service of the Mask of Winters. The very same undying warlord who was recently invaded and annexed the City of Thorns. As I suspected, he was displeased with this knight and had set upon him a fool's errand. Or at least such was the desire of his caretaker, handler, the flayed man.
Skin.
Actually, I need water right now. Real world.
No,
I need
it's
refill
not a
this
problem.
beverage. Hold on.
I did just have the flayed ghost subtextually drop a shit ton of really important information.
Yep. So, what does everyone want on their sandwiches?
Justice.
Now, what would the closest thing to a justice be on a sandwich?
Salami.
I can get you salami.
Okay, back with hydration.
Do you have prosciutto?
No, do I?
Oh,
Prosciutto would probably be one of the things that carries best for long-term trips, so yeah, Milan would have the money for it.
In most respects, ghosts are not like any other manner of spirit which dwell in this world or the others. Including that, under the purview of certain arts, they can be called forth and bound to tasks. At this point, I have reason to suspect that the Flayed One is not permanently in the employ of the Mask, but instead has been compelled to serve many masters over time. And like other beings bound to such pacts, they are rarely in the best of moods. Regarding the terms of their indenture, even those strange beasts which have succumbed to the influence of the void rarely agree with each other on the nature of their revelations. He appears to have fallen into the service of a new lord, for some new task, relating to an enemy of my family. Another lord of the accursed who, during the age of the contagion, took it upon himself to attempt to meddle in the laws of nature. Horrid, profane things that were put to an end by the works of my predecessors, my ancestors, and her few surviving kin and their hearth, and those who stood with her in those trying times. So to slide over out of character, we are engaged in a gigantic reference to a game that I ran as play-by-post years ago that was like post-apocalyptic. Fist of the North Star in the post-Contagion South.
When this was pitched to me, I immediately was okay with having this be backstory for my game.
Breeze was an NPC in that campaign. The idea for Repose formed out of, what if 800 years later, you're his grandson of that kid?
And those who caught that it sounded like a Death Lord's name, but it was one that they did not recognize.
It was one I made up for that campaign.
Yep. The Weaver upon the Loom of Flesh is one of the unnamed 4 Death Lords?
There is a vacant space in which to put your custom Death Lords for your own purposes.
Yes.
And I hit him with a sword.
And I fill out the paperwork.
Skin Man was not a lord.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Skin Man is just Skin Man.
Skin Man is, as Repose immediately nailed it on the head, an increasingly frustrated Void Ghost bound to subsequently more irritating tasks and people.
Few details of the situation are known at this time, but I have been called on to return to my temple and report to my superiors regarding the situation.
When do we leave?
After lunch?
At least. I will, of course, never ask of you to serve in my ordeals. I will not reject your company.
We are of a hearth. We go together.
I turned to look at old man.
I mean, as long as we get to finish lunch, sure, whatever. I got literally nothing better to do.
Well, this is the least appropriate hour for it, but I suppose there's no other time. I should go and pray. Hold on. takes box, goes aside, sets up some incense.
Hello?
Hello.
I thought I heard the words.
Yes, I said I look at old man's opinion on all, like, what's old man gonna do?
I'll be entirely honest. I've been in and out for most of the session and have basically caught almost none of the specifics.
That's
Skin
all
Man
right.
lives.
I
Skin
understand
Man.
that. I expected Skin Man to be alive and everything. Don't worry about it.
Skin Man showed up and delivered vague threats about he is now tied to a new master, and the new master is totally deniably not maybe going to talk to somebody else that he shouldn't be, that is also an enemy of Repose's family that goes back 800 years.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I don't really need the exact back
Yes.
description. It's fine.
There is another different Death Lord who has maybe become interested in our area.
Old Man's answer will, regardless of the information, just be a shrug.
As he does.
Yeah.
I specifically don't ask what old man wants on a sandwich. Because
Meanwhile,
I know the
Repose
answer.
is just kind of, whispering along, getting started in prayers of just, Grandmother, you trained me to not contact you often.
You hand old man a pile of dirt.
Oh, I'm still making a sandwich, but I don't expect old man to
A
eat
dirt
it.
sandwich.
Dirt. This is. Who do you think I am? Some kind of bourgeoisie member of society?
Oh, my apologies. I go and retrieve a leaf with a single drop of dew on it.
This is far too rich for me.
Give him a rock. I think he wants calcium. It's not. I don't know. Good sandwich, by the way.
I will settle with the mist.
Hey, old man. If you're such hot shit, crush this rock with your bare hands.
I couldn't possibly do that.
Do it. You made a copper or something, right?
Well, yes, that's different though.
So you're saying copper's
So I
weaker
know
than stone?
in previous editions, the skill you were supposed to use when attempting to pray for effect was performance, which Repose has none of.
Give
And
me
I'm
an
entirely well, no, I'm actually entirely behind.
argument.
Repose doesn't
Yeah,
do
Repose
the
doesn't
talking
pray.
in. Repose's prayers are brief to the point and mostly about the material side of the ritual rather than actually trying to talk to Grandma.
Hello?
Grandma!
Grandma.
Grandma!
Meanwhile,
There we go.
Taps the mic a
Repose
few
is having a lot of emotion just kind of collide with him and completely throw him off balance. Just having, alright,
Hello?
first of all, has been kind of riding the high of succeeding at like the first big tangible monster hunting thing that he has done in his Holy Warrior career, and now having it come around that, wait, I fucked up all the follow-up, no, the paperwork, no! Did I ruin it? No, the lineage, 800 years. Monster hunting, no. Am I the worst Belmont? Did I just fuck up everything because I spent too much time arranging figurines? Am I used? Don't use me. Alright, so the principal... This reliquary box has in it a bone from grandmother's remains. So this is something that she's very easily able to observe, get into contact with,
This is one
or
of-
travel to.
This is one of her fetters of her. Yeah.
Yeah, just
So-
beyond also keeping track of her descendants is something that would easily allow her to approach Repose.
Oh shit! Right, chat just pointed out that's 2 1s and no successes. That's
yeah,
a botch.
that is a botch on Repose trying to compose any amount of apology to Grandma
it's
for
a-
fucking this up.
What was Benif's role with 2 1s as well?
That was me figuring out where the ghost was.
Oh, okay. Hello, yes, this is the void.
As Repose kneels before kneels before the reliquary and offers prayers to try to contact his grandmother, there's a cold sensation washing over him, like he's just stepped into an entirely too cold pool of water. Water that should be freezing by how cold it is, washing all the way over him. And the voice of the tattered and flayed man is in his ears, whispering, "It was awfully clever, whatever you did with my soul steel. Do know that I intend to collect it with interest."
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Well, those contacts are gonna die.
They'll be fine.
Well, I mean, they do also have the spear. They have a weapon.
All right, putting that away.
I sell some incredibly cursed.
Intensely wrong number pudding.
Are we sure that's her bone?
I think the call got intercepted.
Can that happen?
Yes.
Well, I mean, yeah, clearly it just did. We just saw it, and
Rod
usually
runs
you're
rampant.
rattled.
New bones, who dis?
We should get a bone or something. Oh yes, this is bone.
Tourism is over. We go back towards city now.
We go back to the city.
We have
We
important
go
city
to
words
city.
business.
We do. All right.
Important enough that maybe a team should take the express flight via Old Man.
That's pretty important.
Feeling somewhat responsible, I'm getting
I thought
on the old
Express
man.
Flight doesn't work. I thought that was like the only thing he can do.
He can carry one passenger.
One
I
passenger.
can carry 2 passengers.
Two
Two
passengers, right.
Beep.
I'd have to do it 3 times, but I could. It's still really fast, so you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to take the express flight?
Probably yes.
Me and
Alright.
Repose.
You and Repose.
Where
Repose
to?
and I.
Alright, so I've been operating under the impression that our allied temple is in the city.
Do you mean the Immaculate Temple?
No, like the one allied with my sect.
Oh yes, that would be in the main city.
Yes.
So let's just hang on. Ruler. Is 70 and that takes about 2 hours flight with the cloud to get to the city.
Well, I was also thinking we need to warn Forks. We should warn contacts in Forks that know acutely, really, they're not being let off the hook for this.
Oh, Grey Falls, you mean? The merchant
Yeah.
and the
Falls,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. You could probably yeah. Okay, that would be I think I said that was about a day's flight last time.
It sounds about right.
So yeah, who would be on the express flight to go back and see if they could find him?
Like I said, in fact, being a merchant in the town for the most part, hey,
Okay, so probably it would be Old Man, Obsidian, and Repose.
Yes.
All right. Do messenger Rhytons exist in this universe? Messenger birds, I guess? Rhyton would be a pretty terrible messenger bird. It's kind of semi-flat.
do you use? Okay, also that I was gonna say, do you use vultures for messenger birds?
like a messenger crow. Crows are smart. Tritons are the kind of crow equivalent, but also like they're big, flappy, dumb lizards. Well, not dumb, but like messenger pigeon probably. But
I'll just bring them.
okay, so yeah, let's just switch that right on over.
Other thing from that scene, yes, the underworld has extremely serious hospitality customs.
Yes.
If somebody shows up at your door unarmed and asks to be let in, you have to do it and accommodate them.
It is supernaturally enforced.
Unless they break any rules in your house.
No, technically he did eat a cup.
As he was leaving.
Yeah, like literally as he was going, that was his spite move of, I broke hospitality, now I'm leaving, bye!
Sure. I like that cup.
Okay, so Repose, Old Man, and Obsidian are heading back to Grey Falls at warp speed. While the rest of the group is probably going to take, using the boat to speed things up, 4 days total.
Yeah.
So right now, I did actually commit to figuring out what day it is in terms of the calendar. I need to double check. It is either in the middle. It is either the 15th of Resplendent Air or Resplendent Water, whichever is the first one. The one that's not directly after calibration. I need to...
That would be...
Because I know it was linked earlier.
Resplendent Air.
Yes, okay, so it is the 15th of Resplendent Air. So you will be arriving on 16th Resplendent Air via airmail, I guess. And if Old Man wants to do a round trip to grab people on the way, that would make it shorter again. But otherwise, they would be arriving on the 19th.
So I remember Sybil. What was the actual merchant's name?
Guangyong.
Guangyong.
Yeah. On the way, Old Man is going to be like, he has some ideas and has had ideas recently. And he's going to start to try and tap into things that he normally doesn't whilst on the whirlwind. Just to kind of try it out, check it out, see what's going on.
Okay.
Just thinking about it, trying to think real hard.
All right.
Smoke are all over him, and that's all around everywhere. He knows that. But he personally has never even thought about, like... Alright, so when Milan did the pose that Old Man forced Milan into to stay in there, right in front of the crocodile, right?
Mhm.
You used an excellency to do that.
Yes.
So you pumped personal motes into doing that in
Mm-hmm.
a way that he had never even thought about anyone trying to do before, because it's not something he's ever been able to do before.
Yep.
And then he thought, why aren't I able to do that?
Mm-hmm.
So he's gonna try and do that.
Old Man is filled with energy.
Yeah,
Oh.
why?
I do
Almost
have
the
essence
same.
by nature of being alive.
Yeah, so why can't I do that?
Roll me into cult. +1
Yeah.
stunt.
That'll be 9 successes for you.
Jesus Christ.
Oh.
I need to stop lowballing what these pools can actually do. My internal metric of how many successes is that gonna get is stuck on the World of Darkness math.
Yeah.
Old Man channels a moat.
So Old Man is thinking, and clearly the first obvious answer is, well, you're not exalted. But that's
Exactly.
cheating.
Yeah.
Exaltation is allowing you access to a combination of your own personal power and the power of whatever divine forces is embodying you. Whether that's the elements, or the sun, or the moon, or whatever God gave up the exaltation, or the void, or whatever the hell you want. So, that's not complete self-sustaining use of your own internal energy, which implies that there are ways to do it, but it uses some sort of external means of unlocking it by most presumptions.
The idea of an exaltation being required is completely ridiculous to me. After all, for
Right.
Old Man, his fate is up to him, and not that of the heavens. He relies on his own abilities and himself in every respect.
Right.
So why can't he also rely on himself to get essence out of there without even relying on the things around him? So I'm gonna have to figure out how to unlock that, huh?
There is some internal blockage that you have, or possibly that all humanity has, that exaltation helps unstop and access. And you need to find a way of how that works and try and see if you can get at it yourself without a god's endorsement.
Right. Gonna think
So-
about that really long and hard along the path, while just like sitting in the middle of a dust devil, carrying two extremely large men.
Just
over
thinking
to the
about
city.
the tubes.
Yeah.
Thinking
So,
about it as an arm
first-
wrestling contest is going on within the whirlwind.
The first thought that you really have is that you cannot trust any sort of external beseechment of a power outside of you. But at the same
course
time, every solution to that problem that you know of has relied on an external force acting upon an internal blockage, which insinuates that they know, or at least that whatever mechanisms those work on can act upon that blockage because they know where it is. So in
Yeah.
theory, if you got that same knowledge, you could do it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So your thing, basically the conclusion that you come to is find out what they know that you don't.
Along the way, Old Man's gonna like look like surprisingly uncomfortable for the first time that you've ever seen him, because otherwise he is always comfortable in any circumstance. And he looks over at the two of you while we're on the flight over. He's gonna ask, so how do you do your your magic stuff, the charms? What goes through your head in your body when you do them?
You're
That's
asking the
correct.
wrong person, buddy.
I think that's the right
No.
answer.
See, here's the thing though. For Old
You're
Man,
right.
that makes a lot of sense.
How does a
You're
man know
asking the
to
exact
breathe at the
correct-
moment he is born?
Here's what happens that allows me to channel a charm. I see somebody going for somebody that I hold dear, and all of a sudden there is a newfound power in me that allows me to keep them from getting annihilated. And that is how my moves occur.
If you do watch Old Man's face, he gets very disappointed at that. Because that's exactly the wrong answer for him.
It's hard to explain, but it just happens.
No, see, that part makes sense to me, that it just happens. That's a completely useless triggering situation, however. I'll have to think more.
The other possible branch of this question probably ends the moment any mention of being at one with the Earth comes up.
Even harder.
Just no, wrong. Stop it.
Old Man understands that it just happens. He doesn't understand caring for a person enough that it causes it to occur.
He understands why, he just thinks that's wrong. You would never do that, therefore.
Exactly.
Well,
Your
those are
lifestyle-
those are the two he has immediate access to think about it, so let's
Your
get on
lifestyle,
out there.
your lifestyle is valid. I do not vibe with it. All right, so
Well, the main thing is he doesn't think you're wrong, but also he thinks it's invalid. Is the other way around.
Right, okay.
It's not right. Good work, though.
You make it work, but you did it wrong.
Exactly.
So we are switching to town. While the rest of the crew is still on the road back, the whirlwind dust devil just zoop, flies right into the town at max speed, dropping the crew off in the middle of the high quarter, around where they saw Gwangyong and Sybil last. They're not at the corner that they're on, but some cursory asking around informs them that they had left, actually, earlier in the week. They had been up on the road towards the 100 Kingdoms, actually. Not directly going anywhere, but they were going up on the circuit. So if you went across the road rather than going directly as the crow flies to Grey Falls, you might catch them.
What about the river?
The river might work as well. It was unclear whether or not they took the boat or not. People didn't directly ask where they went. It's just they know that, oh yeah, he does a circuit of the 100 Kingdoms route every once in a while. So...
Are any of the minor temples in the city kosher enough that I could go and report there?
There are a couple, but there is one in particular you would definitely rate as a 10 on the not a snitch scale. So you could go talk to them.
May as well barge in there and cease to be putting off this important work.
And while he does that, Obsidian is going to turn on his only brain cell for a second here and kind of go into like overdrive, trying to just figure out where they went.
All right, let's take a look at your sheet and what I can have you roll for that.
So specifically, they are doing a rounds of a trading path, right?
Yes.
I want to try and figure out what goods they left with, because you don't leave without anything. You leave with what you're intending your first stop to be.
Charisma socialize.
Exactly, and I'm using my specialty as a tradesman.
Yes, and 2 dice don't actually, because that's phenomenal reasoning.
Okay. It's 13d10, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Nice. Go for it. Oh.
8 successes, and was there any excellency in there, or just...
I'll burn 4 motes for an
It's
extra
not.
2.
I will say it's not necessary before you
Okay.
do. I was just
Then,
wondering. But okay.
I will save the motes then.
Yeah.
Obsidian's eyes go wide as he knows the exact route they are at their exact moment right now.
Everybody
One
stop
scene of the hangover with all the math floating around his head.
that.
So it sounds like they left with a general panoply of general goods, a large supply of tools in particular, things that would be used for digging and mining, and that immediately snaps your brain back to the comment about the gold mine in the Rifford Trading Company territory, which is also one of the very first plots on the road back to the area that you would pass through. Would almost certainly be you would go through the Rifford Trading Company first, or you would take a right at that fork and then take it counterclockwise through the Jade Orchid Prefecture. So it is absolutely certain that if they're taking the road to do the circuit, they're going to be going to guild territory first, which means that they are on the road that the crew is taking by foot to get back to.
We overshot and would have crossed paths.
If you had not gone directly as the crow flies.
Taking the long way. So we will have to link up after that. And alright, so Propose will get himself a, secluded chamber at Certified Non-Stitch Temple, get set up again, and have settled on, okay, clearly what went wrong is that I tried to do anything too casually. Let me just get entirely, fully back into the full depth of ritual, set up the reliquary again, take out the genealogy, and making his way back through the entire known timeline of his predecessors, apologize to all of them in sequence, regretting that he has failed to match their historic deeds.
This is a 3-die
As
stunt,
his
but you can keep
forefathers.
going on.
And as he finally makes his way back to the Grand Matron, sets down the book, takes up ritual knife that is always going to be there in any manner of priestliness, and turns it back towards himself.
Oh no!
Just don't have a good choice of phrasing on this, but no, he has adopted the stance of just, if what I have done cannot be forgiven, feel free to claim me.
Make the knife go in if this is a worthy of death offense, etc.
Yes. To instead make this occult.
Yes, it is an occult with a 3-die stunt.
Now, are you gonna spend votes
Specialized
on
in
that?
ghosts. Right, I have ghost specialty that should definitely apply in these situations when I can make it
Yes.
about occults.
I will let you know ahead of time before the dice fall. If this botches again, this is not going to be a bad result. This is just going to be I'm going to have too much fun with it.
Better.
Knife
Right.
does not go in.
Grandma picks up the phone. Also, damn it, I still had the airship theme on instead of switching to town theme. So, yeah, whoops. Tonal dissonance. Okay, so you successfully make contact with Spirit. So, on the other end of the line, well, not even on the other end of the line, there's you're using this with your reliquary. Grandma just not physically, a projection of her
Apparates.
hazily apparates in front of you, sees you holding the knife and says, "Put that down!"
It immediately falls and reposes on the ground, waiting for instructions.
She sighs. Okay, you're acting like you fucked something up that I don't know yet. So she just kind of taps her foot silently, invisibly on the floor. What did you do?
Well, I have been out drinking, fighting, revealing aspects of the teachings to persons outside of the cloister.
Are they in your hearth?
They are now.
Close enough.
One of them technically isn't, but let's not worry about that right now.
And I
Sorry about it.
I want so badly to have old man just fucking sneak into the scene like he usually does and say that.
Now, see, the exception to that
old
with
man
that
just
is
extend his way in. Hello.
the exception to
Hello,
that
I
is absolute repose would have to acknowledge old man in that scenario to admit that there is a person not in his heart that he
Absolute
is
Pose
doing.
is literally the only one of the group who actually knew Old Man before everything happened.
Repose acknowledges old man, he just has a different status than other dragon-blooded do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
He will not just walk into the room. That was out of
Yeah.
character sake.
No, it's just it struck me as like if yeah.
Anyway,
Go on.
and although I have used your teachings to righteously slay a servant of oblivion in the name of the unconquered, I did so in a way by which you received news of this from another servant of oblivion who escaped my grasp.
She just kind of sighs. If this is what you're so... She kneels down as you're just kind of kowtowed on the ground, and is not physically manifested, but your spiritual senses are attuned enough that you can feel the phantom fingers on your chin, like pulling your head up to look at her. If you expect me to be mad that you didn't kill a Nephrak, you are putting too much weight on your shoulders. Now, is there something else that you're worried about, or is that all?
Well, there's the apparent news that one of our ancestral enemies has stirred in his slumber and is in motion. Are you concerned about that?
Yes, I'm concerned about that, but when I see one of my most promising living descendants threatening to stab himself for some sort of self-inflated impression of what he should be doing, then of course I'm going to be mad at you for that.
Do you still love me, Granny?
I'm mad because I love you, kind of. That is the impression here.
That was me.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I know.
Rapo is holding the knife to his chest, looking at the audience.
Twisting it back and forth. But yeah, I'm giving
Yeah,
Repose.
things are then cooling off. There's a cool off moment after that. Is there any other news then at this point?
Right now, no. Best that we know is what that responded when they arrived. The closest that I've been able to puzzle together is that he was very much not trying to hide it from us. He was clearly dancing around the exact oath of whatever binding he is under. But it is presumable, from my investigation, that whatever inverted solar or abyssal or whatever you want to call these things that he is chained to is trying to play both sides, or that the Weaver is trying to pull him away from the mask. And it's clear that the ghost wants either you or me or some representative of us to go tell the mask because he thinks that's funny, or he has some sort of compulsion via sorcery to try and make that apparent, even though he has been chained to say otherwise. What I'm saying is that we've been roped into fucking Deathlord politics, and I'm very sorry. I didn't really want to have you get yanked into this so young.
Grandmother, I now understand why you avoided politics in life.
You have no idea. This is honestly pretty tame for how bad it could have been. This is downright approachable and understandable in terms of motive of what we are dealing with right now. The big question, the lacuna in our understanding deliberately left there by whatever bindings that this Nephrak was under, is who he is actually following around and being made to be the dog of. Because clearly it's somebody that he is not pleased with following, but it is also someone that he has either been compelled to no longer kill via giving advice, or one that he doesn't actually have the capacity to do that to. So my biggest concern right now, my biggest concern is Weaver. It is always Weaver whenever Weaver is stirring. Second biggest concern is that we have another rogue abyssal, and we don't know anything about him. And he's trying to play ping pong back and forth between two of the most powerful ghosts in the underworld. And we don't know what the motive of either of those two is right now. I can hazard a guess that Mask just wants to fuck with the 100 Kingdoms as a way of setting up some sort of staging operation for down the line, because that's how he's operating. Weaver has been quiet for so long that I don't know. I don't know if the Abyssal reached out to him or if he reached out to the Abyssal. He's been locked up in his own little fortress for who knows how long at this point.
For an out of character thing, because I'm getting a little confused at who is what.
What? Okay, go on.
What is Weaver?
Weaver is the Weaver upon the loom of flesh is short version of his name, which is
Yes.
another super powerful Death Lord. Ghost. Bad
Okay.
ghost.
What is a Death Lord?
Ghost King.
A bad Ghost King. Ghost of first age went mad
Okay.
with Power Tyrant.
Not an Exalt is another level thing.
Yes.
Is a ghost of most powerful
Very
kind of
large ghosts.
Okay. All right, that's pretty much it. I was confused. I was like, wait, wasn't Weaver an abyss? Okay, I understand now.
No, the Abyssal is
The Abyssals usually work with Death Lords.
Right.
With or under, depending on the power scale involved. But the Death Lords are the ones who have created...
Actually, basically Asians. There's even 13 of them.
Yes. Fucking yes. That is basically... They are as competent and as
rude and mysterious.
On the sliding scale, Mask is closer to La Habrea in terms of just doing shit. I mean, he kicked down the door of the living and took over a city, and it's like, I'm the king now! Diplome with me! Debate me!
Yeah, also, let's not get an inflated description of how intelligent Asians are.
Also, just said. Also, 2 of them are competent and the rest are idiots. By the canon, yeah, pretty much. But
Speak painfully, Death Lord.
But yeah,
Anyway.
that's basically what is going on. Is 2 super powerful ghost tyrants have a exalt between them. The actual nature of what is going on is unclear, but it is almost certainly bad news. So that is the briefing that Grandma has given to Repose. What Repose's questions, comments, etc. be?
Repose doesn't have much in the way of questions. He has a lot in the way of apology. He's gonna proceed to just confessional out just a lot of miscellaneous stuff that he has done life-wise since last he was able to speak with her, which is presumably pretty infrequently this directly because crime.
Mm-hmm. Crime. But she kind of lets you because she realizes that you need to do this. This is more for your own good than for anything else. So she lets you do the litany. Do you mention butt dialing the Nephrak on accident?
Eventually we'll get dragged back to that, yes.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. What do you say?
Yeah, he will eventually drag himself back to that.
So the whole time as you're going through this
also
litany,
heard from.
As you're going through this litany of minor sins that she's basically almost completely not even listening, just kind of like, of course you're fine, yeah, that's you're living, you do that, etc., etc. Then you mention that you tried to call Grandma and you got the void, and her eyes snap back into you. It's like, are you? And you at first are terrified that it's going to be anger, but it's actually fear. She's checking you up and down. I was like, are you okay? Did anything happen? Were you followed? Did you get attacked? Are you okay?
Are you going to mention the fact that of the armor and weapon?
Yeah, actually, did you mention what the content of the calls was? Because I didn't make that clear.
That would be the next note after, Praise presumably gets in grandmotherly concern, 800 years of ancestral...
Yeah. Yes.
Getting in there before Repose can continue, but... Yes, there were articles we claimed from the Fallen Abyssal.
Her face just starts
He intends
sinking.
to reclaim them.
Names unconquered. Where are they? What did you do? Why didn't you bring them home?
No.
Should I? Do we have a vote for that?
Propose. I understand that I have conditioned you to contact me as little as possible to maintain our security. And I understand that you wanted to do this of your own volition and you were worried about bringing such dangerous and high value objects into our possession out of worry of bringing undue attention to our location. In the future, I would at least appreciate a consultation call on what to do with several hundred pounds of soul steel.
Was it several hundred?
Not 100, like several dozen.
Some artifacts are unreasonably heavy until they have been attuned and then become sensible weight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
that makes
they're
sense.
still that heavy, but you can wear them. So yeah, it's probably actually hundreds of pounds, but you just wear it magically.
Don't worry, Obsidian can lift that easy.
Okay, so I'm going to have you answer this question. Where are they?
Where are they, really?
We're assuming the merchant took him with him, actually, now that I think about it.
Ooh, yeah, they're in circles,
Yes.
probably.
Are they with him, or did he store them somewhere? Is there anywhere he would trust to store them?
That's a great question. You don't know.
We don't know anything about this guy who's probably more than he lets on. Adventure.
We did a bad idea.
Grandma, like, you could see her almost like get incandescently mad before her face just breaks as you say that. Just like, God damn it!
There are probably cracks forming on the surface
do
of
you
Obsidian's
remind me so
skin
much
as Propose's skin as he vibrates over this. Just mistakes have been made.
Why do you remind me so much of myself when I was your age?
Is that good?
Hi, I'm the one who got your son into crime. I'm sorry. I didn't
Because
think
you
this
taught
would
me
happen.
well?
You're not there.
You're not there, but the sentiment is.
Do we
You-
feel
you-
any of this through the hearth stuff? Do we feel like some feeling of
You
intense?
feel-
You feel intense
You
shame
feel-
radiating from the south.
You feel at first what you think is a life-threatening situation until you realize that it's like the emotion of I'm going to die while knowing you're not. It's just I would prefer to just spontaneously explode right now rather than be what I go through this, what I'm doing.
We all
Oh,
know
no.
that feeling, except
He's
Yep.
currently
Yeah.
going through grandma shame. Oh no!
Yes, exactly.
Nope, turns out this one's my coffin. I go here. Goodbye. Crawl into box, roll into hole in the ground.
And good night.
Okay.
Use that earth stuff, just shove the 6 feet of dirt right on top of me, and we're good. It's fine. No one will know I'm there.
Okay, so let me get this clear. You sold this to a merchant who assured you that he could handle soul steel. The merchant is no longer somewhere where you know, and you only have the vaguest estimation as to where he is, why he wanted it, or what he's going to do with it.
Yeah, just about. She's got it in one. She's got your ass in one.
You're not there, son.
I know. I'm just really excited about this fuck up we've done.
We fucked up so bad.
My part in this was advising my hearthmates that any who were left in possession of these items would be placed in immense danger.
Clearly
and
not
otherwise
enough.
entrusted the matter to their judgment. We are now all learning that this was a mistake.
Next time they propose doing that, hit them with the stick.
I feel this massive feeling that I can say I told you so for some reason, and I don't know why, but it feels
Yeah.
so good.
do any of y'all ever get the feeling that you fucked up?
Hey,
No, never.
hey,
That's
hey,
endless.
hey, we got cool armor out of it. Did we fuck up?
You're not here.
You're not here.
I'm just saying.
This is on the road talk.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, you two
Consider.
got good armor, I guess, but
Look,
maybe
okay,
this was a bad idea.
do you have a name at least? Please tell me by the name of the sun himself you got a name.
Yes.
You did get a name, yeah.
He is
What?
allegedly a contact of mine.
Well, what is it so I can send people to go looking?
You'll provide the name.
I forgot what it was, but he would Repose would probably have remembered.
Give me a read intentions roll.
Who?
Repose and only repose.
Just perception, just nothing.
Your grandmother's facial expression is utterly inscrutable and unlike any emotion you have ever seen in your life. I'll send people to go looking for them. You do the same. Go up the road, try to find them, and make sure that they either have it somewhere safe, or, if they're willing, get it back from them and get it to me. Do you understand me?
Yes, grandmother.
Do you understand me?
Repose will sit up straight, drive the staff a very alarming distance into the floor of the temple, stare at her dead in the eyes. Sure as the earth is beneath my feet, I will set this right. And I will activate Oath of 10,000 Dragons, which is a thing I have.
Nice.
Where? Over in Integrity Land. Yep, the Oath of 10,000 Dragons. 1 willpower goes in, and... as I go ahead and check that off on the page. Swear a vow of personal fealty. Who character you hold a tie of loyalty towards, or swear to complete a task at the request of such a character. Gain +2 resolve against any influence that would weaken or alter that tie, or would dissuade you from completing this task. Can only be used once per story. If the Dragon Blood maintains it through multiple stories, cannot be used again until you've ended it. And a new story begins. Repose is locked in. I will unfuck this. I am sorry. Affix.
Very good. Make sure to keep yourself safe while you do it. You are my most promising grandson, and you have made me very proud by taking on one of the Abyssals yourself, even with the support of your hearth, and killing it, forcing a servant of the void to come to my house and grovel and pretend to smile and give me compliments. I don't want to see that potential squandered.
I will replace the mug you lost.
You damn well better. She just kind of nods and discorporates.
Recorporates. Oh, by the way, I want to talk about grandchildren.
No.
No.
Not right now.
Bigger escape, back to street.
Yeah, today's going to be a good day. Nothing bad's going to happen, I think. Things are really going to look up.
Honestly, I think it is about that time. That's a pretty good cliffhanger for next time. Oh, fuck. Many things happened this session. Family was found. Information was gathered. Grandmas were disappointed.
Spanner, do you ever get the feeling you need to send a letter to your grandmother?
I mean, I don't want to, though. She's the head of the house. That's a terrible idea.
I can't believe how bad we fucked up.
You fucked up in an extremely straightforward way. That would should have been easy to figure out well in advance.
We saw this coming.
You said it to yourselves that this was going to go bad repeatedly.
I mean, it was gonna go bad. Yeah,
And this
then,
is why you
like,
forget to contact your superiors indefinitely, so you never have to have this conversation.
But like, it got worse because like it was like, okay, that thing might come back and get them, but who knows? Maybe they're stronger than us. They can take them. And then it turned into actually that thing might be serving Repose's like family's long enemy, and now he's getting at that thing.
Grandma has
uh-oh.
grabbed you by the scruff of the neck and thrown you out the door and told you to not come home until it's problem solved. What a fucking good session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next time, digging your way out of a hole.
Next time we return all the armor and
First you
take
dig the
Soul
hole,
Steel
then
back.
fall in the hole. Now you're in the hole.
This is my
Next
hole
session.
now.
Adventure.
Next session, old man asks more Dragon Bloods about how they do their thing.
Next time.